discord.lrn.fm. And joining you in the studio here tonight on this live Saturday episode, it's Ian.
And the captain.
So there was kind of a big headline that snuck out this week amid all the continuing COVID crackdown nonsense that's going on all over the place.
Yep.
And it's really tiresome. And we can get into what we did last night because we haven't talked about that on broadcast radio
yet. I'm still, like, I've had a night to think about it. And I still have.
Let's definitely talk about
feelings.
We'll
explore our feelings.
The drive-in experience that we had at a comedy show last night. We took the show off. We took the night off basically did a pre-recorded episode of Free Talk Live last night. That's how big of a deal it was, and we'll explain more about that. But this is kind of a big deal here from Politico.com's Josh Gerstein reporting about the NSA. Remember them? Remember them from 2013? Edward Snowden, he put his life on the line basically to reveal.
The Nazi statist a-holes?
Edward Snowden or the NSA?
The NSA, right? That's the acronym, right? Nazi statist a-holes?
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right.
But yeah, Edward Snowden, many may remember the man's name. He put his entire life on the line to go up against the U.S. federal government and tell the truth about the NSA spying and how widespread it was and probably still is, but that he revealed all these different tools and techniques and things that they have in their repertoire to be able to just ingest massive amounts of data about you and the people that you're talking to, or maybe even get on your phone.
It was scary, like how granular that stuff at that time even was, and I'm sure the technology has improved since then.
Yeah, because we're talking about 2013 was when the revelations came out, and he's talking about things that happened however many years ago in the past.
Well, and people call it, he's a traitor, he's a spy or something. Well, I mean, okay, if he spied for the people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, okay, maybe he did spy, but like what he revealed, he didn't reveal it to like another country. He just revealed it to, everybody and said, hey, this is what's going on.
Happening.
You need to know this because they're lying.
And then they lied again after he revealed, he was real smart about how he revealed the information. And he did it in tandem with, I think, the Guardian newspaper and a couple others.
Yeah, wasn't WikiLeaks in there somewhere? And
maybe.
Something.
They had some involvement. But he revealed this, information sort of piecemeal, where he'd let a little bit out, and then the NSA would, backtrack or apologize or say something. They would then also tell another lie.
Right. They'd be, but by the way, we don't also do X.
Right. And then he'd reveal the information that shows that they lied again. Yeah. And this process sort of kept repeating itself over a period of years.
It was pretty. I mean, once you get past the seriousness of it all, the methodology was worthy of comedy.
And now he's hiding out in Russia somewhere, I think Moscow or wherever. And he's been hiding there, and he's kind of, hiding to some extent, right? Like he still appears on you can hire him. You can pay him to appear at your convention or something.
Cool.
He'll remote in and do a Q&A session with your attendees or whatever, right? So that's a way that he can make money from halfway across the world, without having to go get a waitress job or whatever in Moscow.
He was working as a waitress at a cocktail bar.
He ended up getting back together with the girlfriend / fiance or whoever it was that he was with at the time when he basically walked away from
that's
his
amazing.
relationship. Yeah, she came back to join him in Moscow. So, things are going pretty good
for them.
And Trump's even talking about a potential pardon for him. So,
well, he should just pardon the triumvirate, right?
He should.
The
Julian Assange
and
Ross Ulbricht,
right? That would be,
that would be amazing. I'm not going to get my hopes up for it, but Trump talking about it is one step closer to Trump doing something about it. Whether that'll happen or not is another question.
You just need the left to tell him not to, and then he'll do it.
Then he'll there you go. So the news about the NSA, as of just a few days ago, is that the program that swept up details on billions of American phone calls was illegal and possibly unconstitutional, according to the ruling of a federal appeals court this week on Wednesday.
Unconstitutional? You mean the government did something unconstitutional?
It's constantly doing things unconstitutional.
No, that can't be. They're the government.
But whether they can ever actually be reined in, it doesn't seem like they can. And And, even though a unanimous 3-judge panel of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals said the role the so-called telephone metadata program played in a criminal terror fundraising case against 4 Somali immigrants was so minor that it didn't undermine their conviction. So that's what brought this in front of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, was there was some sort of a criminal case, it sounds like. And so even though the judges have undermined the NSA's legitimacy here to some extent by saying that this was an illegal phone tapping, it doesn't matter that you did this, they're saying, because the people that were convicted under this particular case that was related to it, the fact that you guys were doing all this spying wasn't really that big of an aspect of the case, so they're going to continue with the convictions, it sounds like, of these guys. And again, I don't know anything about the case, don't know anything about what happened with these Somali immigrants, but it was an alleged criminal terror fundraising case in that case. So they've essentially ruled that the spying was illegal, but that ultimately it's not going to have any effect on this particular criminal case.
And that no inclination as to whether or not they're going to stop it, right?
Well, that's just it. And that was, I think, the most important point to make here, Captain. I'm glad that you did, because it's the NSA. How are you going to believe anything that these people say? If they say that, oh, well, we wrapped that up, 2015, that was the last time we ever did any spying. You guys caught us. We were very, very bad, and we have accepted our responsibility for this. And we've been bad boys here at the NSA, and we're going to stop being so bad now. We're going to be better. Promise. You believe us, right?
Nope.
Wait, you don't believe us? But we're the government. I mean, we would never lie to you. Yeah, I know. You caught us in a bunch of lies back in 2013. And, we've changed. We've changed since then.
Can you name a time when the government told the truth about something?
No.
Which
is why I didn't believe
outside of hey, we're going to drop a bunch of bombs, and also we're going to take a bunch of your money. They don't even tell the truth
about that, though. They'll lie about where the bombs fell.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh, no, that wasn't a wedding party. No, they were all terrorists.
Right, yeah. That wasn't a family. That was a,
They were just disguised as wedding participants.
It wasn't a hospital at all.
Right. Elaborate ruse. Supposed to look like a hospital. Terrorist training grounds. Believe us. Really. We're the government. We would never lie to you. I mean, everybody knows the government gang tells lies. That's what they generally expect from them day to day. But yet every now and then they become blind. Now Joe Biden is going to tell the truth.
Sniffer.
Now, we're going to get all of a sudden these government goons in the NSA are going to be honest and change their ways. Does anyone really believe that?
Yeah, I don't know. I just had a horrible thought that there might be some people out in the world evaluating other people using the Joe Biden sniff scale.
And what is that?
I don't know, 3 sniffs, is pretty good. One
so
sniff,
3 means he's into you? Is that the idea?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, however many.
He's got to come back for more.
Yeah, the more, scale 1 to 5, something, 1 sniff is just sort of mediocre, but 5 is really good.
Right, 1 sniff, he's just passing over you, right? It's not good enough. You have not appeased him.
Watch out, children. You're being rated on the Joe Biden sniff scale by
JoeBiden.info.
Creepy characters, including Joe Biden himself.
Go check out that website if you haven't done that yet. So, this is a little bit of good news. I mean, technically, okay, the court said it was illegal. It's, by the way, 7 years later.
Yeah. Surprise. Oh, It only took us this long to make this statement. Right.
And what have they been doing since then? Well, who knows? It's not like they're going to tell you.
Spying on you, of course.
Yeah, they're the NSA. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. It doesn't make you feel good knowing that there's a possible bureaucrat out there somewhere listening to your phone conversations?
Yeah, I feel good.
Does that make you feel safe, knowing that there are bureaucrats out there sniffing around your business?
It's the safety dance.
855-450-FREE is our toll-free number. That's 855-450-3733. You can bring up whatever you want. Plus, a little bit more on, we'll tell you about what we did last night. We went to a comedy show, which is noteworthy for a reason, and we'll explain that on the way. This is Free Talk Live.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you get the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at AnyPayInc.com. AnyPayInc.com.
News from news.bitcoin.com. U.S. Postal Service files a patent for new blockchain voting method. Warren Buffett changes his opinion on gold. Maybe Bitcoin is next. $6 billion Acon cryptocurrency city underway. Former Prudential CEO says now's the time to buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies. Getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com. Subscribe to Bitcoin.com's YouTube channel, too.
Bear, the rescue dog, had very flaky skin, dropping a lot of fur, and Levette wanted to do steroid injections. I was at a dead end.
DINOVITE.com.
Probably 6 weeks after we started using Dinovite, no more flaky skin. It doesn't scratch and itch. It was awesome.
You get some Dinovite, how happy your dog will be.
Every rescue dog in America deserves Dinovite for 90 days.
DINOVITE.com.
Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to DivvyProject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from DivvyProject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. DivvyProject.org. DIVI Project.org.
Shortly after beginning his first date with area woman Pauline Geary, smitten local man Brad Holtman told Onion reporters he couldn't believe that the woman was also a fan of the 1960s British rock band, the Beatles.
We were just talking about music, and she mentioned that she liked the Beatles, which is crazy because I love the Beatles, actually. Yeah, funny thing is, I was not really even looking forward to the date. I figured we'd get a drink or whatever, but it's turning out a lot cooler than I thought it was going to. I mean, she's just such a huge fan. She knows all the Beatles names. She even owns some of their albums. I've been a Beatles fan since like 6th or 7th grade, so I don't want to get too excited and jump into something. So I think I'm going to ask her if she's ever seen The Godfather, which is probably my top 5 movies of all time.
This is the Onion News Network.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
I'm a little obsessed with My Magic Mud. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, the founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I didn't even know my teeth were coffee stained. A week's worth of use convinced me, and now I use it every 3 or 4 days. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, and I think it cleans better, too. My Magic Mud's available at most local health food stores, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, CVS, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, but I can get it for you for 20% off with coupon code FTL20 at mymagicmud.com. FTL20 mymagicmud.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk live Saturday episode here. We'll take your calls and your thoughts. If you want to join us, our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. It's 855-450-3733. You know, today, large corporations act as middlemen for our everyday online communications and transactions. Often they work hand in hand with governments. And in the last few years, these centralized social networks have all launched payment networks. Bitcoin and Ethereum have not been scalable enough to compete. And the team behind Intercoin spent the last decade creating an open, web-based, decentralized social platform to rival Facebook and Google. Now they can use it to roll out a revolutionary payment platform on top. If decentralized crypto doesn't soon gain mainstream adoption to power everyday payments, it'll be Facebook and WeChat's world, and we'll just live in it.
Ugh.
Intercoin is attempting to regain some of our freedoms that are threatened on the internet and in meat space. We think that's important here on Free Talk Live, so we accepted $40,000 worth of Intercoin tokens from Intercoin Incorporated for advertising. Now, if you think freedom is important too, check out Intercoin at intercoin.org. You can invest in this project and potentially make big gains or just be involved and perhaps shape its future at intercoin.org. Let's go to your phone calls and thoughts, and then a little bit more about this story with the NSA surveillance program being ruled.
Yeah, another perspective on it, I guess.
Ruled as not unconstitutional exactly, but illegal. We'll tell you more, a little bit more about that. But Jerome is on the line to kick things off here on
Jerome
live Saturday show. Go ahead, Jerome.
Yeah, I just got a couple of stories, and I need you to tell me whether you think they're lies.
Okay.
3 quick stories.
Okay.
The first one is when Trump told Wolf Blitzer back in 2004 that the economy runs better under Democrats.
Well, I mean, I suspect that if it comes from the mouth of a politician, it's probably a lie. But those are just opinions. I mean, everybody's got an opinion. Whether the opinion is the same thing as the truth
That's
or
when
not.
he was a Democrat now. That's when he called himself a Democrat.
Yeah.
2004 with Wolf Blitzer. You know,
I think the economy runs best under no government rule whatsoever. Then you get a good economy.
I think that your whole premise is a lie. I don't think you need our help to tell you the answer to these questions.
No, that's what he said. He said the economy runs better under Democrats. That was 2004 in an interview he did with Wolf Blitzer when he identified as a Democrat. Then I got another story for you.
Okay.
2015. That's when he said he identifies as a Democrat.
2015?
Okay. Yeah. And now, the 1 year later, he ran for, the White House.
Okay.
And he's a Republican. So was he lying when he said he's a Democrat?
Well, people can change their political parties, right?
At will.
Hypocrisy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying somebody can't make a choice to change their political party? It's hypocritical in order to do that?
Well, also, I would have to posit the question, what indeed is the definition of a Republican or a Democrat?
That's a great question.
And then what is the difference between the two?
Well, the difference between the two is when Republicans lie, they try to make it like it's the truth. Now, just like you're not answering me now when I ask you, well, is it a lie? Well, what's the difference?
I don't think a politician would ever do that.
You're not answering, see?
That is not true at all, Jerome.
But am I lying?
And then this last one, I got one more.
All right, go ahead.
But you didn't answer the question. I mean, you asked us a couple questions.
That's kind of fair. I didn't answer his question either. So,
do you believe he said those things?
I don't care.
Do I believe it? Sure, I believe it. I mean, he's a politician. He's going to change whichever the wind blows.
He's not Republican. Well, he's lying because he's now switched parties.
I don't know what it means to be either of those things, Jerome, and that's an honest statement. I mean, is there a principle that holds, together either of those organizations? I don't think there is.
Okay, I got one more.
Besides the principle of we tell you what to do. That's something that unites them together.
I got one more story, and this is the one about that's out right now about him calling dead service people who serve their country losers and suckers, because he went on television, was like a couple of years ago, and when he got to an interview with a reporter, the guy says, "What about John McCain?" Well, he's not a hero because he was captured. He's a loser.
Well, the real losers and suckers here, Jerome, the real losers and suckers here are people referred to as the citizenry. This would be people who live in the imaginary borders called the United States of America, who continue to believe that they need a leader and to be told what to do by this gang of goons, this mafia, if you will, that are all liars.
I think everybody in the military is a sucker. I think they got suckered into following the orders of a bunch of politicians. And that sucks.
What? Have you ever served?
Oh, God, no. I don't want to be told what to do by a bunch of politicians. Why would I want to follow the orders of politicians?
How can you be I want to know, how can you be a patriot and also say stuff.
What
like
makes
that
you
about
think I'm a
people in the
patriot?
military.
Define patriot.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about Trump. Well, I know you're not a patriot.
See, now I love freedom, but that
How can you have been a patriot if you didn't become a what do they call it, a mercenary and murder some people?
Yeah. Paid killer. There's no honor to me in following the orders of a bunch of politicians. Where's the honor there?
You know what I don't understand is Muhammad Ali's career was almost ruined because he refused to fight in Vietnam, and Trump gets 5 deferments, okay, and then he comes out and says something like that about people being suckers and losers.
Yeah, for a moment when I heard that comment, I thought,
he's in the White House.
For a moment when I heard Trump's comments, I thought, whoa, is Trump gone like full-on anti-war? And I looked at it, and I looked at the details on it, and basically he seems to believe that if you got killed or captured as a service person or whatever, a military member, that you're a loser. And he only likes the ones who didn't get captured.
He knows nothing about service to your country, okay?
What does that mean, service to your country? Hey, Jerome, I really want you to answer a question, man. I mean, I know that you like to say you call in.
I spent 9 years in the Air Force, okay?
I'm sorry.
I spent 9 years in the Air Force.
Okay.
What do you mean you're sorry?
I'm sorry.
Not sorry.
Why?
I'm not sorry.
You took a bunch of money from people that was taken from them by the threat of force, and you obeyed whatever politicians were in charge of the government at that time. I mean, where's the honor there? Can you explain that to me? People think it's so honorable.
There is no higher calling than serving your country, okay?
Oh, I disagree.
And you're not going to ever get me to back down from that.
I would say there are plenty of higher callings than that. I mean, anything at all. I mean, opening a business is a much more higher calling.
And is that true for all countries?
Other than being
Good question.
a parent or
you got to answer, please answer some questions here, Jerome. I mean, it's not all about the soapbox. The captain had a question for you.
Is the same true for all countries?
Yes, El Capitan.
All right. So you're saying that
no, he didn't. That wasn't an answer, I don't think, to the question.
So my question is, you said that it's the highest honor to serve your country. Is that true in all countries?
One of the highest honors.
Okay. Is that true in all countries? Is it true in North Korea? Do North Koreans, is that the highest honor to serve their country?
Not that country.
Why not?
I'm talking about America.
What's the difference? What's the difference?
Are you an ethnocentrist?
Look, don't try to play me now. You know I was talking about this country, okay? I'm talking about
But
America.
It's a fair question to ask if it's
even with all our problems and all our problems that we have with you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they're all directly traceable to the government.
Even with that.
Jerome, thanks for the call, man. As always, I appreciate hearing from you. Appreciate the thoughts. Got some answers out of him, so okay.
Okay.
All right. Toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE.
Made a little progress with our chat tonight.
Yeah, I don't think there's any honor in serving politicians. Screw them. They're criminals. They're thieves. They are dishonorable people. So if they tell you what to do, you should ignore it, in my opinion. It's Free Talk Live.
Got shaving irritation? Shave Secret shaving oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hair, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of 100% natural base and essential oils plus a hint of menthol was designed to help eliminate shaving irritations like ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts. We'll lose those shaving irritations. Available at Super Walmart, H-E-B, Wegmans, Giant Eagle, Discount Drug, Navy and Marine Exchanges, Amazon, and ShaveSecret.com. Use the code FTL for Free Talk Live and get a discount. Shave Secret, the best shave ever.
Hey guys, Mark Claire here, lionsofliberty.com, where we strive to advance the ideas of liberty daily. We bring you the Morning Roar. That's right, every Monday to Friday we'll have a brand new edition of the Morning Roar, where we provide a roundup of some news stories that you may not find in the mainstream media or even in your typical social media newsfeed. We find stories that relate to the ideas of liberty and provide you with our liberty perspective on them. Every Monday, we have our longest-running feature, Mondays with Murray, named after the great libertarian Murray Rothbard, where we'll examine an article or an excerpt from his works and help convey his view, along with our little spin as well. We wrap it all up every Friday with Felony Friday, where our own John Odermatt goes out and takes a look at some sort of felony. There's felonies committed every day, you know, whether it's a felony committed by the police, a politician, or even an average citizen. You can find all of this and so much more over at lionsofliberty.com, advancing the ideas of liberty daily.
There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Yep, it's Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free to join us on the radio. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-37.
For your the newbies out there, the dial means press the buttons.
We were talking about the last night at the comedy show, we were talking about old terms that young people today don't really understand where they came from. And the same thing's true of like icons on computers. So like the save icon is a disc.
Yeah.
But how many young people have ever even seen a disc before, right? LibertyStickers.com. That's how you reach people with the ideas of liberty. Do it from the back of your car with LibertyStickers.com. You can reach thousands of people with a bumper sticker, and you know they love to read them. So check out the vast selection of witty, poignant, pithy, and downright bombastic liberty-oriented messages at LibertyStickers.com.
Their slogan should be, now you can tell everybody to stick it.
You could actually have them customize bumper stickers for you, too. So if you don't like the ones they got, you got a better idea, you can print it up.
Oh, so you could ruin otherwise perfectly good bumper stickers by like adding a word or taking a word out or something?
Yeah, you could do that.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to go to your phone calls and thoughts here, and then a little bit more on this federal government, NSA. There was a court case where it was decided by a unanimous panel of judges that the NSA spying was illegal.
Yes.
Now, what does that actually mean? Probably not much.
I mean, we kind of knew that already. This isn't really like some revelation. It's more like the court admitting it.
Yeah, it's just an acknowledgement of the truth in this particular case. But let's go to your calls and your thoughts. We got Dana on the line listening to WTKG in Grand Rapids. Go ahead, Dana.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
I'm going to say this as nicely as possible because Jerome served the country, and I know you guys don't put much value in that, but some of us
Yeah, what's
do.
the value of doing what a politician tells you?
I know, I get it. In some circumstances, I do, but that's not why I'm calling.
Okay.
We can do that another day. But here's the thing. So I'm not entirely disgusted with him, but he said this is the greatest country, and I believe it is. I think we have had people that over the centuries have, 200 plus centuries have run it. But basically, we have the most power, and we use it the least. Although we've used it to, do things to people that weren't moral, we're still the best. We give to others financially. We help. We give with our life.
Aren't you confusing?
I don't do any of that.
But
Wait a minute. Well, I do give to others, but I give to local homeless shelter here,
Right,
for
but not in
instance.
the way she means it.
But that's what I want to clarify here,
right.
Dana, because when you say we do these things, do you mean the American federal United States government, or do you mean the people of the people of America?
The people.
Okay, well,
of
that's
America.
very confusing, I think, sometimes, because
Yes.
people, when
And
you say
we're-
things
and
like...
basically, I agree with Jerome. We're a good country. The people are what.
Okay, but you've got
make up the
to
country.
clarify something here, because
Yes,
when you
and I understand
and
that.
sorry, Dana, the terms are designed to be confusing. The term country
Yes.
can be used.
I know.
Okay, I want to get through a sentence to explain this, please. So the term country can be used by people sort of interchangeably. When somebody says country, they may be meaning the people, their neighbors, their friends, their family, their strangers in the mall or wherever, people that are nearby. That's what they may mean by country in a certain geographic area. But sometimes when they say country, they mean the United States federal government, which is not a nice organization. It is not an organization that does much to help people. The only people that they can help, they first had to hurt others in order to get the money to help the people that they might actually help. So if you can actually point to people that they've helped with like some welfare program, well, first they had to actually threaten other people in order to get the money out of them. So yes, I agree with you. The individuals in this area are good, by and large, good people. I'm not going to say they're better than anyone else anywhere in the world. I think that's ridiculous. I think that people all around the planet are, by and large,
mostly good people. Yeah,
good people. That's why the world is more peaceful now than it has ever been, and overall, it has been generally a peaceful interaction between humans, because we realize that being peaceful to one another and voluntarily interacting with one another is productive, and it helps us be better people and be more productive. But that has nothing to do with the plot of land you were born on or the government.
That wasn't my point. Now that you explain the semantics, and I understand that, we're on the same page, because people use that. They use the term the country to bastardize that word, and I get that.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, because you went into the explanation, which you and I are on the same page, about semantics. Semantics are very important. So that's why I'm about to say something, and I don't mean it offensively. I want you to hear me out on this.
Okay.
Jerome calls in week after week after week, and I'm not going to accuse him of being ignorant in the traditional sense. And that means not having knowledge, not possessing knowledge. Not in the sense that a lot of people say, oh, you're just ignorant, because they're just trying to bash you. Mm-hmm. It isn't a bash, but I'm not going to claim he's ignorant, because he does have a handle, a convenient handle on a certain amount of information. But I don't understand why he, week after week, calls in and embarrasses himself on umpteen stations that you guys are broadcast on, and shows the whole, whoever your listening audience is, that he suffers from premeditated stupidity.
Well, that's not very nice.
Let me finish. This is not meant for pro-Trump, but for him to get on the radio, and I've disagreed with almost everything he's ever said every single Saturday he calls in. But for him to say that the Republicans managed to turn lies into truth and Democrats don't, let me remind him, you can keep your doctor if you like it. You can keep your plan if you like it. Or when they went and got Bo Bergdahl and he talks about the service, there's no greater honor than serving your country. 6 guys died because of Bo Bergdahl, but yet he let 4 of our Americans die in Benghazi.
Who's Bo Bergdahl?
So get on the radio and lecture the rest of us about that the Republicans...
Well, he can get on the radio and talk about whatever he wants to, Dana, but thank you for your call tonight. And you're lecturing him now, so, whatever.
She does have a point about how they're all liars, though, right?
Well,
she brings up the Obama lies versus the Trump lies versus the Bush lies versus the Clinton lies versus the other Bush lies versus the Carter lies versus the Reagan lies.
Yeah, I don't think Jerome is a stupid man at all. I think that he's just partisan blinded, and a lot of our callers are partisan on the right. Jerome is just partisan on the left, and all of it is a blindness. It's a huge blind spot. It has to do with cognitive dissonance, which is the idea of
I believe it's just one term now. It's cognitive Stockholm dissonance syndrome.
It's a little more wordy, but
okay, but
you can call that one word.
Well, it's one phrase.
That's like 5 words.
It's one phrase. Cognitive Stockholm dissonance syndrome.
Okay, 4 words. So I think that Jerome is honest with what he believes. I think he's telling us his truth. When he's here, and
just as Dana was.
Yeah, and I love getting his calls. I mean, I don't think it's not okay to chastise somebody for having a different viewpoint. Oh my God, you're stupid. No, I think that that's
largely what the internet is, right?
Well, but I would hope that we can rise above the internet here.
Yeah,
I mean, even though we are on the internet, we're also on broadcast radio, and we're a forum that anybody can call and express themselves, whether they are right or wrong, and it's each individual's decision to decide. Well, okay, I don't like what he said, or I don't like what she said, and have an opinion about it. That's the whole point of what we do here, and maybe we get people to think.
Well, and this is probably a good time to illustrate that both opinions of Jerome and Dana are valid, whether they're chastising each other or not. They're both valid opinions, and that's what we need more of. We need more individuals with opinions of themselves, that they evaluate themselves, not the ones that they're told to have, but the ones that they create themselves, because you will find the more individual a person can be, the more unique their opinion is.
All right, we got more coming up. Your calls, your thoughts, welcome, and it is the live Saturday edition of Free Talk Live. The toll-free number for you to get interactive here, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733.
Are you afraid to go to the mailbox because of letter after letter from the IRS? Are they stacking on more and more penalties and interest? By now, you know the problem won't go away on its own. Don't let the IRS chase you to your grave with penalties and interest and liens and levies. You need real help now. I'm Dan Pilla. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I help thousands of people solve tax problems they thought couldn't be solved. I can help you too. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com. danpilla.com.
Attention radio listeners, if you're concerned about the coming chaos after the November elections, this will be an extremely important message. Here's why. No matter what the outcome in November, catastrophic social upheaval is a very real possibility. Here's why this is important. Listen, we all know that silver and gold have been historic hedges against the uncertain waves of social chaos and unstable currencies. But did you know that there's been times in the past, during times of extreme hardship, when Americans put another store of value above even silver and gold? It's true, open-pollinated seeds have been and could very well be the ultimate store of value in the coming hard times ahead. Go to survivalseedbank.com to get heirloom seeds below wholesale. Visit survivalseedbank.com this week and get hundreds of dollars in free bonuses. Beat the coming chaos, beat rising food prices, but above all, don't wait. Beat the crowds by claiming your own Survival Seed Bank today.
With a MECTEC carbine conversion unit, you can turn an XD family Glock or 1911 handgun into a carbine rifle in seconds and have it shipped right to your door, no FFL required. Now, MECTEC is excited to announce our pistol carbine conversion unit. More compact with a 12-inch barrel and an arm brace, proving once again that MECTEC is the world's most versatile handgun accessory. For a limited time, go to handgunconversions.com. That's handgunconversions.com and use coupon code RADIO to receive $35 off any carbine purchase.
LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. As our contract with our satellite provider is coming up for another 3-year renewal, I have to consider calling it quits. It's rare that we get feedback or support from our satellite users. We started a fundraiser a few years ago, and though there are a bunch of great contributors to it, as of this recording, it covers 15% of our monthly satellite costs. Please email lrn@lrn.fm and tell me how you use the satellite feed. Better yet, chip in at fund.lrn.fm. The costs aren't the issue. We can afford them, but why continue something not valued by the market? Want to help? You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. Fund.lrn.fm. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at lrn.fm? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at lrn.fm. That's lrn.fm.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. It's the live Saturday episode here. Open phones as always. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, 855-450-3733. Thanks to Piper, who is a Free Talk Live silver amplifier. Piper contributing $5 a month to the AMP program.
Wow, weird. Usually the phrase is time to pay the piper, but in this case, the Piper is paying us. Wow, that's cool.
Thanks, Piper. Yeah, good to know the Piper's doing good things with all that money. But you can join the AMP program as Piper has done over at amp.freetalklive.com. It helps us advertise, market, and promote this show, meaning we can get on more radio stations to talk about the ideas of freedom with more people. If that is something that you think is worth the cost of, I don't know, a cheeseburger, cup of coffee, fancy cup of coffee.
Right.
Of course, $5 today isn't what it was 10 years ago, but we still appreciate all the help and all of our amplifiers. Like Piper, you can go and join the AMP program at amp.freetalklive.com. It's amp.freetalklive.com. Let's go to your phone calls and thoughts. Sheila is on the line in Michigan. Sheila, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Captain Kickass.
Hi. My question was, since the show is about Snowden, what your thoughts are on targeted individuals and microwave auditory effect, directed energy weapons, sonic weapons.
Ooh, okay. So that's kind of a big topic. You're talking about sonic energy, directed energy weapons. So do you mean like HARP? Well, no, I don't know if that's. Well, I hope that's.
HARP.
Oh, that is what you're asking. Okay, because I thought you might have been asking about like there's certain weapons that they've.
I didn't.
There's certain weapons that they've developed that can like mount to the top of a tank or a Bearcat or something, and it's like a parabolic dish or something, like some sort of a ray gun that actually can shoot certain types of waves at. Sorry, I'm trying to explain what the technology you're referring to is, Sheila, so that way our listeners can have some idea of what you're talking about. So they direct these frequencies basically at, say, protesters, for instance, and they can make their skin feel like it's burning.
No, I haven't seen any evidence of it, but there was a tale about how they were experimenting with what I call the brown note. This was low frequencies, right, emitted towards a crowd for use in crowd control that would cause you to relieve yourself in your pants.
Oh, God.
And so this was called the brown note, and it's referred to by musicians as like when a musician hits the wrong note, they're like, oh, you hit the brown note, bro. Like it took on a caricature in the musical community to where it has its own phrase called the brown note. So it takes too much energy to produce that low of a frequency. The lower the frequency, the more energy it takes to affect a crowd in that way. But just know that your government has experimented with these things.
Yeah, I think that those sorts of things, there's a lot of evidence for those actually existing, those technologies. That's like, not really a secret. Whether people know about them or not is another question. How widespread the knowledge is another question, but those are real. The stuff like HARP, I think that's just conspiracy, theory personally.
You can actually look up .gov, HARP. There's NASA research.
Oh, no, the program existed. HARP existed. It's just the conspiracy theory side of it is the idea that it's being used in some way to control people. I think that's ridiculous.
No, it's not.
Oh, you think it's true?
Auditory effect?
You think it's true? You think a transmitter in Alaska, however many thousands or kilowatt transmitter, is somehow controlling people?
Do you know what a Gwen Tower does, or a broadband wire, or a microwave?
I mean, those are all very technical sounding terms. I'm certainly familiar with microwaves as a transmission technology, but I'm not an engineer.
I have some knowledge of broadband.
Are you an engineer?
No, I did a ton of research.
Okay.
1970s, there's a Russian Bible that the science community uses to define the symptoms of microwaves.
Okay.
As well as what they do to the brain, the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, if you point a microwave at somebody's brain, it's going to mess that person up. There's no doubt about it. But Wi-Fi is not the same technology.
Yeah, it is. Wi-Fi is all-inclusive. Broadband is actually
if the Wi-Fi was the same thing as a microwave, which there are microwaves, and then there's like the microwave that you cook your food with. I mean, we're not exactly talking about the same.
That come out of the towers, going through everybody into a cell phone.
Well, that's frequencies. It's audio frequencies.
And there are
the movement of particles in air.
Right, and there are small wave frequencies, certainly. And thank you for the call, Sheila, tonight. But that's to me, that's like going down the rabbit hole of conspiracy theory to believe that Wi-Fi is somehow a danger to people, and
I'm not sure
cell phones are bad.
What she was ultimately getting at, but I can tell you that I do not own a microwave oven.
Oh yeah, why?
I have not owned one for several years.
Don't care for the heating.
Well, I mean,
feature?
several things, right? I mean, they still haven't perfected like how to not make the center of your pot pie cold.
No, they sure haven't.
Even if you put like a cover over it. And,
no, you got to turn it.
Yeah,
you got to move it.
Yeah, so there's that. But then there's also, I read somewhere that there's some sort of nutrition deficiency that occurs when you nuke your food, right? I refer to it, the microwave oven, as the nuke, the reactor, because it also introduces radiation to you and your household. And well, to the caller's point, we do have a whole lot of radiation in the world generated by a whole lot of technology. Yeah. And so I'm just like, well, I don't think I need any more radiation. It doesn't take that much longer for me to, put a pot pie in the oven versus, put one in the microwave or whatever, this kind of a thing. So I just choose not to own one because I don't want to introduce any more radiation. And I also I want the foods that I eat to be fully nutritional.
So the difference between a microwave in that, one that cooks food versus cell phones, for instance, is while the frequency range may be similar, so they're using the same microwaves, the power and the direction is very different.
Yes.
Right. So in the case of a microwave, you're focusing 1,000 watts in a enclosed space versus a cell phone, which may have, I don't know, 1/10 of a watt or something as far as its transmission power, and it's sort of an omnidirectional transmission. We're talking about two completely different applications of technology here. But that's not to say they don't have crazy ray guns that they've come out with that can utilize different technologies in very damaging ways. I just don't buy the whole HARP conspiracy theory. Do you, Captain? Have you ever heard about it?
I've heard of it. To think that the organization known as government has not experimented with these kind of things, I think would be a little not really
unrealistic.
Of course they have.
Yeah,
right?
but whether they've actually succeeded is a whole other question.
Yeah,
I don't think it's because
I haven't seen enough evidence.
Yeah, it's a bunch of poppycock as far as I'm concerned. Look, the reason why people are so easily controlled is because they've been going to government schools. You don't have to look for some sort of secret program of, they're cooking your brain with the HART program from this big transmitter site in Alaska. No, it's because the government gang runs the educational indoctrination centers, and they've got kids in there for 8 hours a day for 13 years at least, if you don't include college.
So ridiculous.
And that is why their brains are cooked.
What if Walmart had your kids for 8 hours a day for 13 years? And was just like, Walmart is the best.
Yeah, that's what they would think.
Walmart is the greatest store that ever.
Always low prices.
Right?
Always
low prices. It's What if they had your kids? What effect would that have on them?
Yeah.
Think about that for a minute, and now go, oh my gosh, that's the effect that government schools are having on my children, except with regards to the organization known as government.
Let's go to Jonathan in Wilmington, North Carolina. Jonathan, you're on Free Talk Live, listening, I believe, to WRNN. In South Carolina, Myrtle Beach. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Yeah, you were talking about the NSA spying program under Obama was found illegal.
Yeah.
Does that mean that Snowden is able to come back home?
No.
He needs a pardon for that to happen.
They're prosecuting him for espionage.
Also, if I'm Edward Snowden, and even if I do get the pardon, I don't think I'm coming back.
Hell no. Now, if he does get the pardon, at the very least, that would free him up to likely travel outside of Russia, so he might be able to finally make it to, I think was he trying to go like Argentina or something? He was trying to go somewhere. Yeah. He was trying to fly
Chile
through Russia to go somewhere, I think in South America, and they stuck him in Russia because they withdrew his passport or banned him from international travel.
Your license to travel has been revoked.
Yeah, so unfortunately the answer there is no. Jonathan, did you have more to say?
No, that was better.
Thanks, man. I appreciate hearing from you tonight. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Whether you want to comment on the NSA or other things we have to discuss, like these new drive-in shows. And I don't mean movie shows like drive-in movie theaters.
Drive-in concert, drive-in comedy.
Yeah, performances. And we went to one of these things last night. We'll get into that coming up here in a bit. Plus, we got something about the GDP. It's not looking good for the United States. More coming up.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless free market non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
investigation intensifies. I'm Joe Chiro, Fox News. New York Attorney General Letitia James today issuing a statement saying her office will impanel a grand jury to investigate the Rochester police death of Daniel Prude, who died after being restrained during his arrest in March. It sparked protests in the city that have stretched into last night.
With 11 people being arrested and 3 officers were hospitalized. People entered the outdoor area of a restaurant, and multiple of them were taken into custody. Throughout the protest, police used tear gas and rubber bullets to disperse the crowd. The community calling for action after the newly released body cam footage of the arrest of Daniel Prude. Footage shows law enforcement pinning Prude on the ground with a bag over his head, and he died 7 days later.
Fox's Alex Hogan. Protesters turning out in Louisville today, where the Kentucky Derby is running over the police death of Breonna Taylor. Armed counter-protesters are also there in support of police and President Trump. The Derby was delayed for 4 months because of the pandemic. No fans are attending the race. President Trump strongly denying a report in The Atlantic that he made disparaging remarks about service members during a visit to France in 2018 and resisted a visit to an American military cemetery there.
Fox News' Jennifer Griffin, who's a well-respected colleague here at Fox News. She's well-sourced. For many years, she heard from 2 former U.S. officials who were on the trip to France. One was in a meeting to actually plan the trip to the cemetery. They confirmed parts of the Atlantic article, but not perhaps the most troubling part about the words, quote, suckers and losers.
Fox's David Sputt. A gas pipeline explosion near a mosque in Bangladesh has killed 13 people and injured 30 as worshippers were about to end their prayers. The explosion happened Friday night just outside the capital, Dhaka. America is listening to Fox News. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention orders a temporary halt in residential evictions to prevent the spread of coronavirus. Fox's John Decker has more from the White House.
The Trump administration announcing this week that the CDC will invoke its authority to halt evictions through the end of this year. The moratorium is the most significant step taken so far by the White House to prevent what experts predict will be a flood of evictions across the country. The move came after President Trump asked the CDC and the Department of Health and Human Services to consider whether eviction halting measures were necessary in light of the coronavirus pandemic. At the White House, John Decker, Fox News.
Another anti-Trump book hits the shelves next week.
Add another title to the long list of books trying to paint President Trump in a negative light. Compromised, Counterintelligence and the Threat of Donald J. Trump, authored by former FBI agent Peter Strzok. He was fired following a series of derogatory text messages that passed between him and his girlfriend, FBI lawyer Lisa Page. Now the one-time counterintel agent states his case in 384 pages. Strzok emphasizes his belief that President Trump has been compromised by the Russians. Strzok also goes into detail about what his life was like during the ensuing Russia investigation and how horrible it was to be targeted by the commander-in-chief's public attacks on him. The book, published by Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, is due out this coming week. Carolyn McHugh, Fox News.
Facebook says it's blocked live broadcasts from a chronically ill, bedridden man who appealed to French President Emmanuel Macron for a medically assisted death. The Frenchman had planned to show what he expects will be a painful end to his life after he announced on Friday that he was stopping all food and drink. The former plumber suffers from a long-term and incurable degenerative illness. I'm Joe Chiro, Fox News.
Every 44 seconds, someone in the United States suffers a heart attack. In 9 out of 10 instances, the heart attack victim will fail to theatrically stumble to the ground and grasp their chest. Don't be a statistic. A heart attack occurs when oxygenated blood is obstructed from flowing properly to the heart muscle and requires victims to act quickly by lurching around with one hand clutching their chest and the other hand reaching out for drapes, blinds, or tablecloths to violently yank out. The first 30 seconds of a heart attack is a critical window. If standing at the time of an attack, move into what is known as the L position by doubling over and grimacing in an unnaturally strained fashion. Use one outstretched hand to grasp for support as you stumble forward, while using the other trembling arm to sweep everything off a table.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. We're kicking off the second hour of this program. You're invited, as always, to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Coming up, Captain, you and I and another group of folks went last night to see one of these drive-in performances.
We did.
In this case, it was a comedy show by comedian Jim Breuer.
Funny guy.
Very funny.
Goat boy.
Good event as far as he was concerned. We can get into what happened and what was not so good about it coming up here in a little bit, as you've had the night to reflect on it, and we'll get into that. But first, we can go to more of your calls and thoughts, and then on the way, some, well, not so good news when it comes to the economy here in the United States. You've got a story about that, Captain.
I sure do.
I hope we get a chance to get to that because that's a pretty big deal. And it's just kind of scratching the surface of a big problem. So we'll talk about that. Your calls and thoughts are welcome, though. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, or you can better yet call in via our Discord server. If you want to sound good, if you want to sound like you're sitting here in the studio with us, just go
if you want to sound silky.
Yeah, really. I mean, it's really an improvement. Over at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. That'll get you into our Discord server, which is not just a way to call in. That's just one feature. It's also a way to interact with other Free Talk Live listeners before, during, and after the show, and it's free. So discord.lrn.fm. To the phones, to the phone. We got David in Kansas listening in Salina to KINA. Go ahead, David.
Hey, good evening. Thanks for taking my call. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, sure.
I love this program. I mean,
Thanks,
this
David.
program's like one of the only programs out there where you can call in and voice your opinion of whether you disagree.
I know, right?
Or not.
Shocking.
Well,
isn't
then
it?
carry on, my wayward son.
Well, and that's kind of what I want to talk about. And listening to some of the people talk about disagreement and calling people stupid and idiots and ignorant and really. I have to say, I believe that people are stupid as a general term. People are stupid, panicky animals. But a person is smart.
Yeah,
that's
there's
an interesting thing to say.
No, I'm kind of with you. Nobody's as dumb as all of us, right? Like
the wisdom of crowds,
or the lack of wisdom of crowds. Yeah, the mob
Exactly.
mentality.
And we're seeing that. We're seeing that today.
Yeah, we are.
In this political environment that we're living in, that is being pushed by the mainstream media, and it's driven me to where I no longer associate with groups of political people, regardless of whether they're the same political persuasion, i.e., little L libertarians,
right,
or big L, or even Republicans, simply because I would much rather have a one-on-one discussion.
Sure.
I had a great one-on-one discussion with my neighbor, who happens to be a founding member of Moms Demand Action of their local chapter here in Salina.
I'm not familiar with the
Great
group.
conversation. I mean, she and I are completely polar opposites.
What is Moms Demand Action? What is the issue on which they are demanding action?
They're demanding action on the end of all firearms in the United States.
Oh, that's crazy.
'Cause Moms Demand Action sounds slightly pornographic.
Yes.
Is this a dating website I can go to for women over 35 or something?
Yeah. Mom's Hub, I think is what it is. Maybe.
Okay, thanks.
Oh my.
But the point is that had you had two groups of individuals, whether it's 4 people, 5 people, 18 people together, we would not have had that great conversation. There would be shouting and yelling and, being standoffish. And, that's why I say the comment of all people are stupid.
Well,
an individual is smart.
Yes, collectively, people act stupidly. And I say that to differentiate the difference between smart people and not smart people. So there's plenty of smart people in the world who are much smarter than I am and much smarter than I'll ever be, who do dumb things.
Sure.
Right. People claim that, some people are like, oh, you're smart. I'm like, well, I don't really think so. But I also do dumb things. So if people are spot on with their analysis of me being a smart person, I certainly do dumb things on the regular. I'm sure I've done several of them probably within this program tonight.
Well, you got to do things and get them wrong in order to hopefully learn a lesson at some point and get it right from that point on.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And just real quick, I want to comment on Snowden.
Sure.
Even if he gets the pardon, do you really think the NSA is going to let it go?
Oh, no. Well, I don't think the NSA is going to bring charges against him, but I think that what would happen if he got a pardon and actually tried to come back is they would cook up, the FBI would cook up something and probably arrest him as soon as he walked into the airport.
He's toast. He's toast. Now, I honestly believe he's probably freer in Russia than he would be anywhere else in the world.
Right.
Especially in the United States. Even if he got the pardon, he'd still be freer in Russia.
I don't know how old you are, but that's a big, powerful statement.
I don't know if it's true to say that he wouldn't be freer elsewhere in the world. I suspect that there are better places to go than Russia.
Yeah, I'm a Gen Xer. So
okay.
I've seen a lot. But from what I've seen, the way this country go post 9/11, from pre 9/11. And what I've seen happen with the Iron Curtain falling and the way that has gone and what Snowden has done, he's like royalty in Russia.
He should be,
at
least.
Russia. Yeah.
In that case.
He should be royalty in the United States.
Yeah.
The
he should be.
collectively,
Absolutely
yeah.
Right.
You're right. The people are not smart when it comes to recognition of somebody who did them a favor. Did him a solid.
Yeah, absolutely. David, good call. Thanks for sharing your thoughts tonight. I appreciate it. David there in Kansas as we continue with Robert in Charleston, South Carolina, listening to WTMA. Go ahead, Robert.
Hi. I just was listening to the first part of what you all said with regard to which is the better party for the economy with the beginning of the show.
We didn't say anything about that. That was what Jerome called in to ask a question about, and he wasn't asking which party would be best. He asked if it was regarding a Trump statement about the Democrats from around the turn of the century. But no, I would say that no party is the best party. To have no state would be the best way to have a good economy. That way,
separation of money and state is the only answer.
Well, complete separation, of course, you can't really have.
Sure you can.
It already exists.
That's what Bitcoin is. Cryptocurrency.
Exactly. But who's got that is what I was trying to get to.
Anyone who wants it.
Well, yes, of course. But on the other hand, what government wants it? None.
Who cares whether government wants it?
All the more reason to have it.
The economy exists with or without the state. And the state only gets in the way of the economy.
Yeah. All the economy is people transacting with other people. That's it. You're making voluntary agreements and then using this thing to facilitate value. It's a language. It's communication. It's like music, right? You don't necessarily have to know how to read music or write music to know what music is, right? The same thing applies to currency. Right? All it is just a language, the exchange of value between individuals. Now, what the government does is it claims a monopoly on the ability to have money. They claim that it's theirs and theirs alone to produce and allow you to use. Now,
Not really. I mean, they still do allow people to have Bitcoin at least. I mean, they haven't cracked down. They haven't arrested people for
they
that.
They can't, right? Bitcoin has not asked for their permission.
Well, they could prohibit it. They could try to prohibit it.
They could write a law that says, but Bitcoin's illegal or something.
And that would
like
make it a lot more difficult. But
it would also increase its value.
It could.
Everything that the government tries to do to shut down cryptocurrency only increases its value. Which is great. It's the complete exact thing that the people need.
Yeah, that's the way you separate the church, the state from money. Same difference, huh?
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Robert.
I'm sorry. I thought you were finished. Remember at the beginning we had the barter system? I mean, we had barter bureaus. Remember that?
I'm familiar with the system.
No, I wasn't alive for barter, but I mean, I have bartered.
Yeah, I didn't spend much time, doing bartering because money has existed in my lifetime, so it's more efficient to use a, sort of semi-universal go-between, a medium of exchange, if you will. Thank you, Robert, for your call tonight. Toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. You can join us. It's Free Talk Live.
Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to divvyproject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from divvyproject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. divvyproject.org. D-I-V-I project.org. News from news.bitcoin.com. U.S. Postal Service files a patent for new blockchain voting method. Warren Buffett changes his opinion on gold. Maybe Bitcoin is next. $6 billion Acon cryptocurrency city underway. Former Prudential CEO says now's the time to buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies. Getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com. Subscribe to Bitcoin.com's YouTube channel too.
So when we brought him home, we didn't realize that Bear, the rescue dog, was actually sick. He had very flaky skin. He was dropping a lot of fur. And Levette wanted to do steroid injections, special dog food. Nothing seemed to work. So I was at a dead end.
DINOVITE.com.
I've been hearing Dinovite on the radio for years. It never actually crossed my mind to try it until it finally sunk in. Oh, you're talking about hair and skin. And all right. I'll try it. Well, it took probably 6 weeks, but after we started using Dinovite, no more flaky skin, he doesn't scratch and itch, and he started to put weight on.
Dinovite is nutrition.
I wish that we would have started the Dinovite right away. It would have been so much easier.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
Every rescue dog in America deserves Dinovite for 90 days.
DINOVITE.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything you want. Toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. And, you know, we were going to get into the comedy show thing that we attended last night, the drive-in. But since our last caller was bringing up economic issues, why don't you pull up that story, Captain, if you don't mind, about the U.S. economy. And there's a real bad indicator that is rearing its ugly head.
Yeah, so this is from VOA News. It also
VOA meaning the Voice of America.
Voice of America News, voanews.com.
But actually AP,
it's
right?
From the AP. Yeah. AP explains, the U.S. debt will soon exceed the size of the entire economy.
The U.S. debt will exceed the size. So the government's debt.
Yes.
Will exceed the size of the entire economy for what, 1 year, I presume? Okay.
Yes.
Meaning this is the first time that's happened in some long period of time.
Since the end of World War II.
Okay. Got it.
So, more on this.
That's bad.
It's horrible. If you don't understand what that means, stand by and I'll explain it to you. The U.S. government's war against the coronavirus, which is an accurate description. It's more like the war against people with coronavirus as the excuse.
Yeah, well, sure. The same thing's true of the war on drugs.
Right.
War on people.
It's imposing the heaviest strain on the Treasury since America's drive to defeat Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan 3/4 of a century ago. The Congressional Budget Office has warned that the government this year will run the largest budget deficit as a share of the economy since 1945, when World War II ended. That means next year, the federal debt, which is the sum of year after year annual deficits, the federal debt is forecast to exceed the size of the entire American economy for the first time since 1946.
Wow.
Within a few years, it's on track to set a new high. So,
well, of course,
for those of you who
debt?
are... Yeah.
I mean, it's setting a new record high every
day,
second.
Right, so for those of you listening who don't, let me simplify it for you. The geographic area known as the United States, all the businesses combined generate, we'll call it $10 to make the math simple, right? Now, the federal government extracts money via taxes, so it takes, let's call it $2 from the entire country, right? Leaving everybody with
way less
a remainder $8, right?
Take,
okay, so they take $5, right?
Okay,
they take $5. Now, what they also do then is they borrow against future taxation, right? So they borrow, in this case, another $10,
right,
exceeding the size of the entire economy, that the entire amount of dollars that all of the businesses in the United States produce.
It's bad. That's not good.
I mean, if
that's sustainable,
that is a recipe for hyperinflation. If you've never studied hyperinflation, please go to your favorite search engine, I like DuckDuckGo, and type in hyperinflation and start reading on hyperinflation. Because guess what? Coming soon.
There was a really interesting story that I don't know if we're ever going to get on the air, but because it's lengthy and really detailed. But there's an excerpt I'm going to take from it because it's relevant here, Captain. This is from the Winklevoss twins, who are the founders of Gemini cryptocurrency exchange. And, these guys by no means are, they like to saddle up with the state. They like to cozy up with the state. They've asked for permission to run their exchange. They've got a license and all that. So, but they've done a really good analysis of the failure of the dollar and the U.S. system. And so here's just a little bit. So it says here from 2009 to 2019, the U.S. debt to GDP ratio, GDP being the sort of the production of the economy.
Gross domestic product.
Yeah. Swelled from 83% to 106%. So as of 2019, debt to GDP ratio was 106%, meaning that the debt is way more, as you're saying here, than the production of the economy. So that actually happened apparently as of a year ago. Post-COVID, it's on track to hit 135% by September of this year. So this was written last month. So this month,
right now,
it's supposed to be up to 135%, which is huge. And to bottom line this, the U.S. debt to GDP ratio will grow more this year than it did over the entire prior decade. So put that into perspective for a moment. I mean, the government has been going crazy for our lifetimes with spending. I mean, that doesn't matter. You know, Democrats, Republicans, they get in there and they spend like crazy. Whether they tax more or less is immaterial. They're still spending like crazy. So the debt to GDP ratio will grow more this year than it did over the entire prior decade, which is crazy. And finally, China's debt to GDP ratio was 300% entering COVID and has grown to 318% as of quarter 1 2020. So the rest of the world is not faring any better, but it's a race to the bottom is what it is.
Yeah, and the other thing I want to point out, and I know we've pointed it out, well, every time we talk about economics, or at least we should point it out every time we talk about economics, is the money that your government is borrowing is going to be paid back by your children and their unborn children. It's not going to be paid back by you. So you're literally conscripting unborn children and saddling them with debt before they're even conceived.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad to. I'm not going to tell people what to do, but I wouldn't want to bring a kid into the world in this day and age with this crazy COVID stuff going on, with people being so insane and antisocial. I mean, I would feel bad raising a dog right now because people won't even stop to pet dogs on the street anymore. It seems like that's how bad things have gotten.
Yeah. From this same article, the annual deficit, which is the gap between what the government spends and what it collects in taxes, will hit $3.3 trillion in the budget year that ends September 30th. That amounts to 16% of America's gross domestic product, again, GDP, which is the broadest measure of economic output. Not in 75 years has a deficit been that wide. Yes, wider than your mom. It's true. All you moms that demand action, you might be wide, but not as wide as the deficit.
Yeah. Well, that's the government for you.
Yeah. So, again, Bitcoin.
Well, right, and I'm glad you brought it back to that. We actually had some comments in our Discord server in the on-air chat room. Devoured says that crypto is nice, but it's not a main investment, he says. It's way too volatile.
Right now.
Well, I mean, we don't know when it's ever going to settle down. Maybe it never will. I don't know.
I mean, if it's possible to look at pre-government economies, right, and we're talking about currencies that existed, sort of before governments claimed the monopoly on printing it, right, or when it was at least backed by stuff. Currencies have always been competing, and the market has always been volatile. That's the nature of the market. That's how it's supposed to work. You are supposed to have choice in the market. You are not supposed to be forced to just use Federal Reserve notes or FRNs, right? There should be choice. Each community should be able to issue their own currency if they want to. Individuals can issue their own currency. There should be no government stopping you from doing any of this as long as you have a competitive product.
The toll-free number, if you want to join us here, 855-450, free like freedom. You can take control of the airwaves, comment on the economy, COVID, craziness, whatever happens to be on your mind. We'll talk about the drive-in comedy show that we saw, why it matters. It's Free Talk Live.
Want to accept Bitcoin at your online store? There's a good chance you already have what you need: a WordPress using WooCommerce and a Bitcoin address. Now all you need to start taking Bitcoin payments on your website is the AnyPay app on your Android or iPhone. Just paste your Bitcoin address into AnyPay, then connect it to your website with our one-click plugin for WordPress. Now your website takes Bitcoin, start to finish, in 15 minutes or less with no complicated steps. Download AnyPay from the App Store today.
Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to divvyproject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from divvyproject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. divvyproject.org. DIVI project.org.
If you're David, a few well-chosen words can help level the playing field with Goliath. I'm Holland Cook from survivalspeech.com. Recently, I saw a Yellow Pages ad for an appliance repair company, and the headline read, "Why wait for Sears?" If you're going to the Yellow Pages, the Dead Sea Scrolls of advertising, you're ready to buy right now. So this is an attention-grabbing message. And how about the plumber whose radio ad says, "Call by noon Thursday, and we'll be there Saturday at no extra cost"? Smart guy. Most plumbing firms give their crew the weekend off. This one gives them Sunday and Monday off. In the words of a respected advertising executive, cut to the chase, make it quick, and tell me exactly what you can do for me, especially if you're looking for work. For more tips on critical communication skills for the way things are now, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. The LRN.FM's social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Free Talk Live.
And that's what it really comes down to. I think the internet is becoming more and more conservative. I've been online for 20 years. Really? And everyone's trying to make money now. And when you get money involved, you start having people scared of their own shadows or their own nipples.
A long time ago, whitehouse.com
porn site
was a porn site. There was a website that misspelled Blue's Clues somehow and was a porn site. And yeah, you don't really see those nowadays.
But I don't know. I mean, back in the 20 years ago, you didn't have 2 girls, 1 cup.
You didn't, but if you did, there wasn't that much complaint about it because usually people that were online 20 years ago, you had to have a certain amount of technical sophistication.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You bring up what you want. Take control of the airwaves here toll free. 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And do you think that your favorite politician, if you have one, is somehow going to fix the problem where the debt to GDP ratio is now higher than it's been in our lifetimes? It is 106% as of 2019, and this year it's expected to hit 135%. Do you think the Democrats or the Republicans are going to do anything at all to change this? If you're welcome to comment if you'd like. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. And do want you to know about Liberty.menu. It is a place for liberty-minded folks, so people who are voluntarists or freedom-loving anarchists or libertarians to go and get connected with other businesses run by people that are like-minded. That's what Liberty.menu is doing. It's bringing people together, allowing people to sort of put out there the things that they do. Hang out their digital shingle, so to speak, at Liberty.menu. It's for individuals who reject the initiation of force and agree to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle. So if you don't agree with the non-aggression principle, you don't belong at Liberty.menu. If you do, get on over there and you can list the things that you do, maybe your business or an event that you're an organizer of, or if you got digital content you want to promote, you can do all of that there at Liberty.menu, and it's free, so why not? Unless you want to keep hiding your beliefs. I get you. It's a scary world out there, but if you want other people to know, then get to Liberty.menu and list your stuff so people can find you. We're going to go back to your calls and thoughts, and I think you might have a couple more points that you want to share from this story about how dismal things look economically on the horizon and in the immediate future as well. Let's go to Glenn in South Carolina, listening to WTMA. I mean, we haven't even talked about all the businesses that are closing permanently this year.
No, we haven't. I read an article recently that half of the small businesses in San Francisco alone will remain closed permanently.
It's not just San Francisco.
Half of the small businesses.
It's also big cities all over the place. So,
how you doing, guys?
Glenn, go ahead. Good.
Oh, yes, sir. I just want to let you know that a lot of businesses down here in South Carolina ain't even open yet. They got permission by the governor. He says, y'all supposed to be behaved adults and supposed to act like with a mask and everything. We got one place in Charleston that's enacting an ordinance that you have to have masks on. People just don't get it with this thing and need to enact.
When you say people don't get it, what do you mean?
behavior.
What do you mean by people don't get it?
Well, they don't go 6-foot rule. I mean, we've seen people today in the line getting seafood, and they wasn't even 6 foot.
Good.
They wasn't even wearing masks.
Good. How do you feel about that? Does that upset you, or does that make you feel
No,
good?
Not one bit, because I'm a soldier as well, and I took an oath to foreign or domestic to fight any enemy. To me, this is an enemy, so for a while right now, we got to protect our freedom and.
Well, hold on.
our
When you say
life
you're fighting,
here,
well, hold on.
you know.
When you're identifying the enemy, can you be clear with me who you consider the enemy to be?
Both China and the virus. The
virus is the enemy, huh?
Or did something wrong.
Okay. So
and
what
they
is
let
it that you
get
want to
out
do
of
to fight
hand
the
and it went
virus exactly?
Everywhere in the world, real quick.
Glenn, what do you want to do to fight the virus since you consider that the enemy?
I would have liked to enact the vaccine program, but hopefully that the health people are doing that now.
What kind of vaccine program?
So
What do you mean by that?
way we could get back
Glenn.
to normal.
Glenn, what do you
Take
mean
care-
by a vaccine program?
You know, to get the money coming in. I know that word
The money?
but still, it's going to take it to get a vaccine invented.
Okay.
They're doing it now.
Well, what are you going to do with the
Dr.
vaccine? What are you going to do with it?
His name. Huh?
What are you going to do with the vaccine? Let's say you have it. What are you going to do?
Well, we need to distribute that throughout the world, and that way
What if
we
I don't
can
want it?
become inoculated.
What if I don't want it?
That's up to you.
Oh,
but
is it?
everybody else has got more sense and get inoculated.
Okay. So
'Cause
Glenn's
we're
vaccine
observing
program won't be
people
you won't be
dead.
forcing vaccines onto people if you were in charge?
No.
Okay, good.
I'm not forcing anything. I'm
Cool,
just
man.
gonna make
Yeah, because I don't
people
trust the
safe.
government. See,
I wonder, Glenn, do you think that the vaccine will negate or otherwise defeat, knock out, kill the coronavirus?
It would.
No, actually it won't, because the flu vaccine doesn't even kill the flu.
Well, I know that. But
And the
it'll
flu
weaken
is
it
another
to
form
a
of
point.
coronavirus.
It'll weaken it, you know, where we'll be safe again to go out and about. And
It's already safe.
yeah, I'm
enjoy
plenty
life.
safe right now, Glenn. I mean, I don't know why you're so afraid of what barely even exists from what I can tell. I mean, there's almost no one who is connected into my life that has even been sick.
The CDC even corrected their own numbers to show that just 6% of those who died, who they claimed died of coronavirus, are actually died. Right, so they revised their own numbers to go, oh, oops, we made a mistake. It was only 6% of what we claimed earlier.
Thank you, Glenn, for your call tonight. I appreciate it. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Yeah, not interested in a vaccine. Not interested in being told what to put into my body. Not interested in being told what to put on my body. I'm not going to wear a mask. I'm not interested in it.
Yeah, we were talking during the break, and I said something along the lines of the masks are the mark of the obedient.
It's true.
right? It's the same thing as, I don't know, a serial number tattooed on your arm. A chip embedded under your skin.
I know that some of the people are wearing them because they believe in them, and others are wearing them because they're afraid of what might happen to them. But either way, it's obedience. And so if you are sick of these masks and you're against the masks, then you really need to start acting like it and stop wearing them.
Like if you were wearing a mask before COVID, there might be an exception. You know, and you'd see this from time to time. You know, I lived on the West Coast, and you would see in Chinatown some
Asians,
wearing a mask occasionally for whatever reason.
Whatever,
you know,
they might be sick.
Okay, far out, solid, and right on. But their choice, and nobody ever made fun of them for doing it that I'm aware of. You know, and they didn't make fun of anybody else.
I never thought it was strange. I was over in Japan last year for a semi-working vacation, and I saw it on the streets, and it was, on occasion. I wouldn't say it was more than maybe a 20th or a 1/15th of the population or whatever. And I never thought it was like a weird thing. I would never make fun of somebody for wearing a mask. So I don't think there was ever any kind of... I know that some people, like our co-host Mark, believes there's a stigma on people who wore masks prior to this, and he's glad that stigma's gone. And I mean, maybe there were some people who
I was
didn't
not
get it.
aware of it, but okay, sure.
Let's go to Greg. He's in Daytona, Florida, listening to WNDB. Go ahead, Greg.
Yes, sir. I'd just like to make a comment.
course.
Seems like every time I turn around, the government's talking about cutting Social Security benefits. What they ought to be cutting is the money that goes out of this country to Israel and Egypt and Ukraine and whoever else has got their hand out.
You're right. The majority of the United States budget goes to the military. Like the entire funding of Social Security, is a tiny fraction of the entire federal budget.
And his foreign aid, is also, not insignificant.
Right. So military expenditures are the largest piece of the pie. It would take nothing for the government to reduce their output of military expenditures by, 10% and fund every social program that they have.
Yes, sir. I agree with that 110%.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not necessarily in total agreement. I think that Social Security should also be abolished along with the rest of the federal government.
I'm just saying that it would be real easy for them to reallocate some dollars and take care of it, but they don't.
They don't. That's right.
They use it as a political football during the election season.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, you can't trust these people. So when they say that it's going to be there for you, it doesn't matter if they're telling you the truth or not, because there's no responsibility for them. So if a congressperson or some other bureaucrat says, "Oh yeah, we're going to take care of. Don't you worry. We're going to take care of you when you get old. We're here for you. We're the government." But then later it may turn out that nope, we don't have enough money, or no, we're going to raise the age of retirement.
You didn't check the right box, so you're not eligible. All sorts of things.
So they can do whatever they want, and there's no liability that they have to you. It's not like you have a contract with them for Social Security, and it's not like even if you did have a contract that they wouldn't be able to change it anyway. They're the government. They wrote the thing, and they run the courts, so they can do anything that they want. And the best thing you can do, Greg, and thank you for your call, man, I do appreciate it, is to prepare yourself and not rely on these people. So what does that mean? Well, I'm not going to give financial advice, but I like precious metals. I like cryptocurrency as alternatives to
ammunition.
Ammo's fine too. You can share your thoughts. Greg, thank you for your call. There's more coming up. Our toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. This is Free Talk Live.
Attention radio listeners, if you're concerned about the coming chaos after the November elections, this will be an extremely important message. Here's why. No matter what the outcome in November, catastrophic social upheaval is a very real possibility. Here's why this is important. Listen, we all know that silver and gold have been historic hedges against the uncertain waves of social chaos and unstable currencies. But did you know that there's been times in the past, during times of extreme hardship, when Americans put another store of value above even silver and gold? It's true, open pollinated seeds have been and could very well be the ultimate store of value in the coming hard times ahead. Go to survivalseedbank.com to get heirloom seeds below wholesale. Visit survivalseedbank.com this week and get hundreds of dollars in free bonuses. Beat the coming chaos, beat rising food prices, but above all, don't wait. Beat the crowds by claiming your own Survival Seed Bank today.
Get healthy, not high, with 100% pure CBD powerful natural pain relief from Veterans Vitality. GCN listeners, have you ever thought about how CBD may help you? I'm sure you have heard about the many benefits of CBD. Well, here's your opportunity to try before you buy. Created by veterans and for everyone who deserves better choices, our CBD is derived from organic hemp, grown in the USA and third-party tested. Veterans Vitality CBD saves you as much as 25 to 50% over our competition, and a portion of all sales is contributed to veteran nonprofits and events. Many of our customers have experienced improved quality of life, help with anxiety, PTSD, and overall well-being. Our products do not contain THC. They are safe, non-addictive, effective, and 100% legal. GCN listeners, get your free trial bottle of premium CBD by simply paying shipping and handling at GCNFreeCBD.com. That's GCNFreeCBD.com. Again, GCNFreeCBD.com. Offered by Veterans Vitality Premium CBD.
The political world is a maddening cesspool of corruption and lies. Nobody tells the truth. Nobody keeps campaign promises. Nobody obeys the Constitution. Nobody puts the people first. How can we ever escape this web of tyranny? Vote for nobody.
Hi, my name is Nobody. I'm running for governor of New Hampshire because nobody knows how to live your life better than you do, and nobody deserves that kind of power. I want to put you back in control of your money, your lifestyle, your work, your body, and your life. Nobody should rule you but you. New Hampshire convicts many people of so-called crimes that should never have been prosecuted. If elected, I will pardon every victimless crime in New Hampshire history. This includes drug, gambling, prostitution, gun, and driving offenses. Nobody should have a criminal record when they have not harmed anybody.
Wouldn't it be nice to have nobody telling you what to do? Learn more at electnobody.com. electnobody.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. You can join us here. The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
L. Captain Kickass.
And, of course, you can bring up anything that you want. We want to say thank you to the folks over at AnyPay, because I just love the work that they do at AnyPay. It makes it super easy to accept cryptocurrency payments at your local business. That's where they got their start 3 years ago, actually. They've been around that long now. And just recently, I think last month, they announced a major change that is a huge improvement on their system that actually allows people with WordPress websites. Now, if you're not into the behind the scenes of websites, you probably don't know most of the time you're looking at a WordPress website.
Right.
There's a lot of them out there. I mean, a lot of them. A good chunk of the world's websites, I think it's like a quarter of them at least, are running on the WordPress platform. And of those WordPress sites, others have, some of them have what they call the WooCommerce plugin, meaning they're selling things from their site. So you've probably purchased things through WooCommerce. And again, it's not on Front Street what the name of these systems are, right? Like you just know you're buying an item from your favorite website. Right. But it's WooCommerce that's usually running the back end of these WordPress sales sites. And so if you've already got a system, if you already have a product for sale on a WordPress WooCommerce site, and you want to start accepting cryptocurrency payments, it really could not be any easier. All you have to do is just download the AnyPay plugin for your WooCommerce and then activate it, put in your email address for your AnyPay account. You're done. That's it. I mean, bing, bang, boom. You're accepting crypto on your website thanks to AnyPay. You can go to AnyPayInc. NEPAYINC.com. That's NEPAYINC.com. And you can learn more about what they got going on there. It's really exciting stuff that they're working on. So kudos. NEPAYINC.com. Let's go back to your phone calls and thoughts. Archie is on the line in Pennsylvania. You're on Free Talk Live.
Archie?
Yeah. I just want to make a comment.
Okay.
I think this country is going to be going down the wrong path.
Oh, really?
If Texas ever turns Democrat instead of Republican.
Texas? I mean, that doesn't seem very likely, does it?
I hope not.
But you're calling from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, we're blue state too right now.
So you're saying the country will go down a wrong path if Democrats are elected? That's what you believe?
If Texas turns Democrat, I think we are.
And what is it that you think is... So does that suggest that you mean the country's on the right path right now?
Better than under Joe Biden.
Joe Biden.
Biden from Biden.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you that I think Joe Biden is a good person. I think he's, a despicable person because he's a politician, and who knows what he's doing with these children. But regardless, Captain, you just told us that the government's debt is now greater than the entire output, was it, of the United States economy?
The GDP, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, Archie, is that what you're saying is the right direction?
It's going to be a lot worse than Joe Biden.
All right, that's all you got. Thanks for the call tonight. Boy,
I'm going to give
boy.
that caller one sniff. Right? He wasn't,
I don't know what he was sniffing.
On the scale of 1 to 5, we'll just give him 1 on the Biden sniffing scale.
Yeah, I don't know whether it was Biden sniffing him or if he was sniffing something, but that guy was having a good time. It sounded like, 855, 450, free like freedom. You can control the airwaves here. Pat is in northern Michigan. You're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, good evening, guys.
Hi, Pat. You're on the air.
Pat.
Well, I'm thinking back through history. You guys are talking about the government fulfilling promises and whatnot. How many different minorities were promised 40 acres and a mule?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think anybody's still waiting on that damn 40 acres and that mule there?
Yeah. I mean, I'll take it if they're handing it out.
I know, but that it's never been delivered.
No,
yeah, and while you're mentioning
know.
these things, what about some of the lies that were told to the Native Americans when they put them on the reservations?
Geronimo and them were promised 40
That's
acres
right.
and a mule to come in.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of tickles my elmo that the Democratic Party chose the jackass for their emblem when it's the only critter on the planet that can't reproduce itself.
That is funny. I never thought about that before.
Well, and the other one's the elephant,
and
too, right?
Even if they claim it's the donkey, it still takes a donkey to make a jackass.
That's a good point. Pat, anything else you want to share?
No, I just wanted to run that by you.
That's cute.
You guys
Thanks, Pat. I do appreciate it.
I actually think the jackass should be the animal symbol for both parties.
Sure, why not? They suck. They both do.
I mean, they're all jackasses.
They're awful human beings. They're awful. They destroy life through their actions with the state. They destroy the economy.
They don't produce anything.
No.
They don't do anything.
They're like a giant tick that just feeds and feeds and grows and grows.
They stick the American people with a straw that draws blood. The blood is money. Yep. Your life's effort they take from you, and then have the audacity to say, we decide what to do with all of this money that you have no say in.
Yep, and they'll print more out if they want to as well. So they don't even have to. The system's so insidious, they don't even have to tax you.
Right.
They could abolish the income tax tomorrow and just start printing more wildly.
Yeah,
they wanted to.
They just did like a couple trillion, right?
Trillions, and it's not over. The year's not over yet. We still got 3 more months of this to go. So who knows how bad it's going to be by the time 2021 arrives. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Captain, was there more that you wanted to share from the AP story on the terrible news about the economy?
Yeah, this article just asks a few questions, and I'm going to fill in the words that they missed when I read through this, because I think it's important. And then if you want to read this article, you listeners, you can go find it on our Twitter feed or wherever.
Twitter.freetalklive.com. But better yet, follow us on Mastodon, which is a more decentralized system, over at toot.freetalklive.com or telegram.freetalklive.com. All that content is the same, so it's up to you which one you prefer.
So it asks the question, why is the budget so lopsided? And it says, and I'm going to embellish here, the U.S. government was already deeply in debt even before the virus struck in March.
Yep.
That's true.
Yeah.
The budget has absorbed the expenses of the 2007 to 2009 Great Recession, the federal benefits for the retirements of the vast baby boom generation, and the cost of President Donald Trump's 2017 tax cut. Okay, all true. Last year, the debt burden reached 79% of GDP, the highest since 1948. Then came the government mandates surrounding the, quote, pandemic, unquote.
That's interesting. The claim there is that the debt ratio was 79% last year, while this article claims it was 106.
Yeah,
I wonder how they're measuring these things.
There's a different measure, I think.
Either way, it's bad.
The two, but
either way, whichever set of numbers you choose, it's not good.
The government mandates caused the economy to tumble into a sickening free fall as businesses were forced to shut down and millions of Americans hunkered down at home to avoid violating the government mandates and or infection.
So the word forced, I'm guessing, was not in the original article. You added that.
Here, I'll just read you what. So I've embellished.
Yeah.
Then came the pandemic. The economy tumbled into a sickening free fall as businesses shut down and millions of Americans hunkered down to avoid the infection.
Yeah, a lot of it, as you pointed out, under government mandate. Yes. And the thing is, we don't know what it would be like if people were ever free to choose in the United States. That didn't happen for the most part here. There might be some states that were less crackdowny than others, but it's been bad.
It's supposed to be about choice, right? Freedom, roughly translated.
If you had freedom, you would be able to choose.
Means choice. I should always be able to choose in any situation, and that freedom has been taken away from you courtesy of the organization filled with thieves and liars and murderers called government.
Right. I mean, we got a guy in our Twitch chat, Tony from Revere. He says it's a $300 fine in his city for walking in public with no mask. So I don't know which city he's in. I don't know if it's one of those. So there's two different sort of enforcement types that are going on out there. There's what's happening here in New Hampshire, where it's like they say that it's an order and you have to follow it, but they're not actually fining anybody.
Yeah.
Apparently, like in Nashua, there's an ordinance that Nashua's a city in New Hampshire. There's an ordinance that requires masks with a $1,000 fine, but no one has been issued said fine as of yet, which means no one can challenge that in court necessarily if they haven't actually been fined, or it's not as easy to challenge.
I mean, all of these laws are difficult to enforce, right? We know that there's so many laws on the books that they can't even be counted.
I mean, it's not that difficult to enforce this law, Captain. I mean, they're doing it in Miami, for instance, where they actually have 39 or something cops.
Yeah, if they focused on it, yes. Yeah. I'm just saying that enforcement of all of the laws is very difficult. Enforcement of certain laws, not so difficult, right? So it depends on where they put their effort with the force part of enforcement.
Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms and a full hour to go here on this live Saturday edition. We'll get into the story, not really a story, but our experience of going to one of these drive-in shows.
Round 3, fight.
Yeah, in hour 3, coming up. Free Talk Live.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for everyone to use it in everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that's as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Finally, after a long delay, I'm Joe Chiro, Fox News. Authentic has won the 146th running of the Kentucky Derby, staying in front of favorite Tiz the Law.
Authentic! Tiz the Law! Here's the buyer! Authentic has won the Kentucky Derby! John Velasquez does it with Authentic!
As heard on NBC, the Derby was run without spectators after it had been delayed for 4 months because of the pandemic. Protesters converged nearby the race in Louisville to rally against the March police death of Breonna Taylor. They were met by counter-protesters supporting police. President Trump continues to vehemently deny an article on The Atlantic that claimed he resisted a visit to an American military cemetery in France in 2018 to mark the end of World War I. Fox's Jennifer Griffin.
Regarding the trip to France and to the French cemetery to mark the end of World War I, according to my source, the president was not in a good mood that day. He was furious at the French president, Macron. He questioned why he had to go to 2 cemeteries. Why do I have to do 2? He was planning to go to one cemetery on the first day and another one the second day. When asked if the president could have driven to Aisne-Marne Cemetery in what was described as a drizzle, the rain was a drizzle, this former official said, the president drives a lot. The other world leaders drove to the cemeteries. He just didn't want to go.
The president also denies that he called U.S. casualties from World War I suckers and losers. This would normally be a very busy day on the roads because of Labor Day weekend, but this year will likely be different.
AAA says that Americans are taking 15% less trips compared to last July through September, but governors and health officials across the U.S. are still urging caution this holiday weekend. They're hoping not to have the coronavirus spreading activities.
America is listening to Fox News.
For over 20 years, millions of customers have trusted Blinds.com to update their homes. Because Blinds.com makes it easy to get custom blinds that'll give your windows a high-end look without the high-end price. Whether you like to DIY, need design help, or prefer measure and install services, they do it all with easy online ordering and free shipping right to your door. If you're unsure, know that Blinds.com has over 30,000 5-star customer reviews, and they guarantee the perfect fit for your windows, whether you do it yourself or have them measure and install everything for you.
Right now, shop Blinds.com's Labor Day savings event right from home with easy online ordering and free shipping right to your door. You'll save up to 40% on everything through September 8th. Interior blinds, shades, shutters, even outdoor shades. Plus, pay over 24 months at 0% APR on qualifying purchases with PayPal Credit Easy payments through 9/17/2020.
As of March 1st, 2020, new PayPal credit accounts have a variable purchase APR of 25.49% that will vary with the market based on the prime rate. Minimum interest charge is $2. Subject to credit approval. Visit Blinds.com/PayPal. Other rules and restrictions may apply.
A man accused of stealing a police rifle during a riot in Seattle back in May has been charged by a U.S. attorney.
24-year-old Jacob Little appeared in federal court Friday after Seattle-based U.S. attorney Brian Moran charged him with possession of a stolen firearm. The firearm was taken during a riot in downtown Seattle from police. Seattle police surveillance images show Little with a large bag that was used to store a Colt M4 rifle with a suppressor. He's seen apparently taking the bag from a Seattle cop car parked downtown after several police vehicles had been damaged and burned by rioters. The U.S. Attorney's Office says they also obtained messages showing Little trying to sell the gun. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
A mother who lives north of Austin, Texas, in the city of Round Rock is recovering from severe injuries after hand sanitizer she was using caught fire as she lit a candle.
Kate Wise suffering second and third degree burns.
Within literally 2 seconds, my entire body was just engulfed.
Wise says she was putting the hand sanitizer on and her arm caught fire. She says she was suddenly engulfed in flames. The sanitizer she used, an off-brand, something she says she'll never use again. Chris DeMeo, Fox News.
And the NFL has given the green light for a Dallas Cowboys star to return to the field. Fox's Matt Napolitano reports.
In a statement posted to social media Friday, Dallas Cowboys defensive end Randy Gregory calling it a day of celebration and thanks as he revealed that he's been conditionally reinstated by the NFL. Gregory was suspended indefinitely last season for what was his fourth violation of the league's substance abuse policy in his career. The Cowboys defensive lineman will be able to report to the team Monday for COVID-19 testing, but won't be able to practice or play for Dallas for weeks to come. Gregory adding in his statement, quote, "I am in a good place and plan to use this second chance to be a great father, player, citizen of Dallas, and teammate," end quote. Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
And I'm Joe Giro, Fox News.
Zone. I'm Brooke Alvarez. Our top story tonight, Congress has passed a bill naming incomprehensible shouting the official language of the United States.
I'm sick and tired of listening to people who say that Americans should not know what to know, and that's not what it is, what the policy is. The red-blooded American is what we have in this day and age.
Under the new law, public school classes will only be taught in incomprehensible shouting, and government agencies will no longer offer translators to non-shouting speakers. In addition, a new test will be added to the naturalization process, whereby potential immigrants must prove they have a working knowledge of incomprehensible shouting before they're granted citizenship. The movement started in 2008 with a grassroots organization called Americans for Doing It Right, because we gotta know, because who else, right? Come on!
This is the Onion News Network, a tomahawk of honesty in the skull of lies.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. Bring up anything you want right here. Toll-free number 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. In the studio tonight as we kick off the third hour of this live Saturday episode, it's me, Ian.
And me, the captain.
We will go to your phone calls and thoughts. In fact, we're going to go to Discord first up in this hour, because that is where, well, a gentleman is waiting patiently, but also that is where you can sound way better than if you call in on the phones. Now, I know that it doesn't matter to you how you call in, and you know, whatever's the easiest method is probably the best one. But if you don't mind, if you like to call in to talk radio, I would like it if you were calling on our Discord lines, because it just sounds better. It's easier to listen to. It's more pleasant as a listening experience to hear somebody that sounds like they're not on the phone and has a more full, because the phones cut out your certain parts of your voice, right?
It does.
The wavelengths of your voice. And
it's a very narrow bandwidth that you hear. And it's surrounding 1K, 1,000 hertz, if you will.
Yeah.
That's the most sensitive your ears are, that particular
you can't
frequency
hear real low
bandwidth.
frequencies on the
Which
phones.
is why everybody loves the bass when they go to the concerts and shows, because you feel it.
Right.
It can't be reproduced over an analog telephone line.
But we can hear you better if you're on our Discord server. So go to discord.lrn.fm, and if we have a better time listening to you, that means that you might stay on a little longer. It might mean our listeners will listen longer, so it's good for everybody. Discord.lrn.fm, and it also means if you're calling internationally, it costs you nothing.
Correct.
So that's why we've got our next caller calling from Switzerland, where it is, what is it, like 2 or 3 in the morning there? What time is it right now where you are, Fabian?
3 a.m.
3 a.m. So thanks for staying up late with us. What's on your mind tonight?
Well, I've been listening to all the stuff you guys have been doing with the lockdown and stuff, and it has been really tense, in the United States.
Yes.
Here in Switzerland, we had like a semi-lockdown only.
Semi, okay. What does that mean?
We didn't take much of these precautions, in March we closed down our stores and stuff.
Really?
But yeah, we did. Yeah. And
When you say closed
after-
down the stores, what about like grocery stores or places where people would come?
Yeah. Grocery stores were still open.
They were
always.
Okay.
Always been. You know.
What about restaurants? Were restaurants closed?
They were closed.
They were.
100%.
Okay.
And that's also my main grief with all these measures they took, because it only affected small businesses.
Of course.
You know, yeah. And just recently I read like the German Minister of Interiors, Jens Spahn, he's called, and he said it was a mistake what we did.
Really?
Yes, that's what he said.
Wow.
No. Yeah.
How many businesses have closed permanently where you are? Captain, you were telling us that San Francisco, it's something like half the businesses who closed are closed permanently.
Half the small businesses, specifically.
It's only small businesses, and this is what gives me a main big gripe. You know, it makes me angry.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because all this stuff only affects small businesses.
Yep.
No. Yep.
Well, these big corporations, I mean, that's not to say that there won't be some big corporations that are going under. I mean, certainly, for instance, JCPenney is an example of this right now here in Keene, which is where we are here in New Hampshire. The store here is closing. The entire chain has gone bankrupt.
Were they closing pre-COVID?
You know, that's the thing, is there's a lot of businesses that were sort of on the edge. Yeah. And then COVID was the situation, the crackdown from COVID, the government crackdown, pushed them over the edge. So like a lot of newspapers that probably would have gone out of business eventually are going to go out of business sooner. Right. JCPenney probably was going to go bankrupt, but now they went bankrupt already. So it sort of accelerated that process to some extent. But you're certainly right. It's the small businesses that are, you know, they're not sitting on huge nest eggs of billions of dollars in, you know, real estate or whatever that they can tap into.
And now you have certain leaders now in politics now, and the last news that I saw was Nancy Pelosi. She went into a hair store. And had her
yeah,
after she made them close.
Yeah, I heard about this. But I just want to clarify something. I don't consider these people to be leaders. Okay, they are politicians, which means they're scum. And they shouldn't be trusted. They certainly.
I agree. I agree on that. But,
they shouldn't be leading anybody. I mean, they lead you off a cliff.
But me know the situation which we have, and this is what we have. You know, they are our leaders, even if we don't agree.
I disagree.
Obviously.
They're not leaders. They're not leaders. Look, if they were leaders. If they were leaders, then people would follow them voluntarily. They would have good ideas.
You and me agree on that.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know. But they are
a leader. What a leader does is they set the example.
Being a leader,
you know?
Being a leader, of course, you know. But the incredible hypocrisy behind that, it's just amazing. It's just
with Pelosi showing up at the barber shop alone in a closed barber shop, getting taken care of.
It's just crazy, and it's the same like with you know, for example, me myself with the protests and stuff. I agree with people protesting 100%.
Me too.
Like you should always voice your opinion.
Yes,
that's great stuff, you know. But then go on and like try to moralize people for the same thing because you say like, oh, it's a pandemic, don't protest, and then do the same thing. Come on, it's like right now. In 2020, this incredible hypocrisy, it's crazy. It is.
This is a crazy time. I mean, it is just so frustrating out there, and I think this will lead into our next conversation pretty well. Thank you for the call tonight. I appreciate it, Fabian, and appreciate you again. You staying up late there listening to us live.
Great. Thank you.
Awesome. So we go to Jerry in Charleston, West Virginia, listening to WVTS on the FM side. Go ahead, Jerry. Jerry? Do we have Jerry in Charleston, West Virginia? Jerry going once?
Jura.
Jerry going twice.
Jura, come in.
Stand by, Jerry. We'll put you back on hold. Maybe there's something...
Shepherd the lost sheep. Shepherd the lost sheep. Come in, lost sheep.
Could be some technical difficulties there. So... Captain, we did something last night that was unusual in that, in a few different ways.
That long-haired yellow shirt guy is still bugging me.
Let's talk about that and who that was and what we did. Do you want to introduce this?
Yeah, so as the listeners may be aware of, basically all forms of entertainment have been stifled, if not ended completely. There are some people who are trying to figure out, that is, innovate a way around that. And here in New Hampshire, at least, there's a production company doing these drive-in productions. They're at the fairgrounds,
which we'd heard about these things over the summertime.
There's a couple of rock concerts. Blue Oyster Cult played. A couple other cover bands, tribute bands, that kind of thing.
But when we talked about it over the summer, it was happening in other cities elsewhere, and our general response to it was like, lame.
Yeah, it sounds
so lame.
Like, for me as a metal guy, you can't have a metal show without a mosh pit, and you're certainly not. I mean, unless they suddenly combine like a demolition derby and a heavy metal show. Actually, that might be an idea if you're an aspiring promoter out there. It might not be a horrible idea, but. So they've
had
put
demolition
on
derbies at the fairgrounds. So.
I'm also a comedian. For those who don't know, you can hear some of my work at lcaptainkickass.com. I'm like the cussing heavy metal version of Weird Al, and that kind of thing. So as a comedian, I like to support other comedians. And Jim Breuer is a comedian who's been around for 30 years. He's also a self-professed heavy metal comedian. He loves heavy metal. He listens to it and that kind of thing. So I identify with him, and I've followed his career pretty closely. And they were like, "Hey, Jim Brewer's coming to town." And so you, through some other folks in radio, were able to alert us to this, and we went to the show. And that's where we're at, and what we're about to talk about is this show. Now, I had heard, because I talked to somebody I met in a restaurant that went to one of the drive-in concerts, the Blue Oyster Cult in particular.
The same promoter, the same place.
And he said that, oh, yeah, it was pretty relaxed. It was more like a party. You basically pay for the car, not for a ticket. You get 2 parking spots. You park in one of them, and then you get your lawn chairs and your cooler out, and you just sit down and enjoy the show. And it was more of a party environment. And so that's why we went.
Yeah, that sounded really good to me. Like, it sounded like, oh, cool. You could just go and have a good time, and there's not going to be a bunch of people hassling you about some stupid-ass rules.
Boy, were we wrong.
We'll get into that coming up here in moments. 8:55, 450, free like freedom. Disappointedly wrong. On the way, it's Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live is aired on nearly 200 radio stations throughout the week, and we've been doing this for almost 18 years. You can call in any evening from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern to talk about whatever's on your mind. Sure, you can waste your time on Facebook and reach dozens of surly posters, or you can call in with your issue and reach 3 surly hosts. Oh, and nearly 500,000 weekly listeners. The number is 1-855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE, as in freedom.
Maxwell, she was scratching and losing some hair. My vet, she says, oh, he must be allergic to chicken. Another vet said, eat the drain. Third vet said, it's the weather. Then somebody said, DINOVITE.com. It took 2 weeks, and the dog stopped itching. The hair stopped falling out. The Dinovite is a big part of Maxwell's diet.
You get some Dinovite, how happy your dog will be.
DINOVITE.com.
Got shaving irritation? Shave Secret Shaving Oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hair, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of 100% natural base and essential oils, plus a hint of menthol, was designed to help eliminate shaving irritations like ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts. We'll lose those shaving irritations. Available at Super Walmart, H-E-B, Wegmans, Giant Eagle, Discount Drug, Navy and Marine Exchanges, Amazon, and ShaveSecret.com. Use the code FTL for Free Talk Live and get a discount. Shave Secret, the best shave ever.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Do you have a WordPress website running WooCommerce and want to accept cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Dash, Bitcoin Cash, and Bitcoin SV? Now you can easily enable crypto payments from your customers by adding the AnyPay plugin to your WordPress site. Just visit AnyPayInc.com and set up your account by entering your cryptocurrency wallet addresses in the admin. Then enable the AnyPay plugin in your WooCommerce. That's it. Now your website takes crypto like Bitcoin thanks to AnyPayInc.com. AnyPayInc.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You bring up anything you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. 855-450-3733. Here in the studio tonight, you've got Ian.
The captain.
I want to say thanks to Bitcoin.com, longtime sponsor here on Free Talk Live. They are a great site to go to get started in the world of cryptocurrency, like Bitcoin, where and Bitcoin Cash. They'll tell you a lot about that, too, where you can get started in that world because, you know, it's not too late right now. You may think, oh, my God, Bitcoin's over $10,000 per Bitcoin. By the way, it's down because it was over $12,000 and now it's down to like $10,200 today. But it's definitely not too late. It's still pretty early on in all this. It may be that 10 years from now we're looking back and we'll say, my God, remember when Bitcoin was only $10,000? That's a future that could be a reality. Now, we don't know what the future holds, but it's a good idea to go and get started over at Bitcoin.com, and they'll take you through the Get Started section. There's like a 2 or 3 minute long video there that can give you the basics, and that's where you got to start.
They've got a news section, too. There's a couple authors I follow that regularly write for them. I think Jamie Redmond's one of them.
He's a good one.
Good stuff.
Check out news.bitcoin.com if you want to see the latest news headlines, as we will tell you more about our... I hesitate to call it an adventure, a disappointing journey into mask-crazed enforcement.
For me, this was probably the second thing fun that I would get to do this summer.
The first being
Forkfest, which was great fun. And no hassle at all about anything. No masks, no social distancing, none of that.
It's going to be hard to top.
We had actual live music, which was completely shut down for all public events, so that was fun.
Yeah.
But to me, I was like, okay, well, let's go do this thing and see how it is. I like Jim Breuer. He's a funny guy. And so we went. We got a couple cars full of people.
Right.
We trucked on over, and we parked. And we started unloading our chairs. And, oh, look, there's a merch table.
Yeah.
You know?
And there was these yellow-jacketed, vested men and women who, of course, were helping people park. This was a drive-in show, the idea being that you get a parking spot and then you get another parking spot right next to it where people can set up their chairs and, sit and watch whatever show is going to be on. And so after we got all parked and everything like that, you noticed the merch table, and there wasn't very many people over there.
No, and we said, well, let's go check it out because we've got some time. We got there early.
Yeah,
we got our
there
parking
90
spot.
minutes early.
Yeah. So, let's do something. And so we attempted to walk over to the merch table. We were confronted by this yellow-jacketed person who obviously was staff working for this event.
Security team.
And he goes something like, next time wear your masks. No, before we did the merch table, though, I actually had walked over to one of the other carloads that we knew people at. And that's when somebody had said, next time wear your mask before when you leave your spot, so to speak. And I'm like, really? I'm outdoors. I'm well more than 6 feet away from any other living body. It's just ridiculous. And so then we went to the merch table, and we were confronted by this yellow jacketed person.
We couldn't even get to the merch table. There was all this tape that had been put on posts that was all over the place. I couldn't figure out how to get to the thing.
Yeah, they had this maze. They were expecting thousands of people to queue up in front of the merch table when there wasn't. There wasn't anybody at the merch table.
At no point did I see anyone go there.
I suggested we leap over the tape that they put up.
I had
this
started
maze
to.
system.
I had started to put one leg over it.
Yeah, and the people manning the merch table were like, no, you guys have to go around.
Yeah.
Right, and we're like, okay. Oh, and you have to have a mask too.
Right.
And you clarified. You're like, so if we don't have a mask, you're not going to.
I said I have a medical exemption. You're not going to allow me to come buy something from you.
Right.
And they were like, nope.
And so we were like, okay, well, I guess you don't get any of our money then. Because who knows? Maybe I'd have bought a T-shirt or something, whatever kind of merch they had there for Jim Breuer, right?
We couldn't even get close to look at it.
Couldn't even get. And so we walk back towards our, we'll call it campsite for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
We walk back to our plot, and then this guy says something back to us about, the state can shut us down if you don't wear the masks or whatever, blah, blah, blah.
The same guy that hassled us on the way out there.
Yeah. And he's like, if you don't wear the mask like we ask you to, we can ask you to leave. And I'm like, oh, my God, really?
Is that what this is going to come to?
Yeah.
Am I going to get kicked out of this event before it even starts?
Right.
Just for trying to go to the merch table?
And so this mask Nazi, which is what he is, and then he hung around.
That was his zone or whatever. That was his area.
It's like, really, we don't need that. We're grown adults. We know how to take care of ourselves. GTFO, man.
Yeah, I got more to say about it, but let's go to your phone calls and thoughts here. We've got David. He's in central Pennsylvania. David, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Hi, guys.
Hey, welcome.
Hey, shout out to Jerome, man. I always like his calls.
He's entertaining.
Man's got fire in the belly.
He's wrong, but I like his calls. Go ahead with your thoughts.
So my question is, if you go back and recall, Carl Sagan, his most famous statement, or the statement he's most known for, is billions and billions.
Okay.
So my question is,
I thought that was Trump.
It?
Billions and billions and.
Thought it was McDonald's.
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry. David, did we lose you? David in Pennsylvania. Not having good luck with the last couple of calls here. I don't know where he went to.
Where did he go?
Poof. Maybe he'll come. Oh, there he is. We have you now. Say again whatever it was you were trying to say, because we haven't heard you for a few seconds.
Sorry,
Go
technical difficulty.
No, go ahead, please.
I'm barely on the grid, Dave. And you might even hear a cricket in the background, which I can assure you is not digital. So
right.
the topic is Carl Sagan.
Yeah.
If you remember Carl Sagan, the statement he is most remembered for is billions and billions.
Of what? Billions of what?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, that's just what he's known for. That's what everybody remembers about Carl Sagan.
All right. Well, I don't remember that. That's why I'm asking you.
My question is, did he ever say it?
Oh, I have no idea.
The quick answer is no, and in fact, it's the first line in one of his many books. I never said billions and billions, because it's not a real number. And the reason I bring it up
billions
is because
isn't a real number.
A lot of that going around, So
I'm confused.
That's all I have.
I got to say, you have not enlightened me here. What do you mean by it's not a real number? I don't get it.
Billions and billions, according to Carl Sagan. I mean, I can't speak for him, but I certainly agree with him. I mean, mathematically, billions and billions, is it 1 billion, 2 billion, a billion billions? Which is why it doesn't represent any particular
I see.
number.
You're saying it's not specific enough for a scientist, and that's why he didn't say it. Okay. Thanks, David, for the call tonight, man. Appreciate it. That's unusual.
Yeah. So that's like McDonough, right? 1 billion served?
McDonough?
Sorry, that's my nickname for Madonna.
Oh.
Right. That's a specific number, 1 billion, right?
Okay.
Instead of McDonald's right?
Yeah.
McDonald's used to have either a number on all of their signs,
signage,
and then eventually I think once they got over
changed it.
a billion, they were like over 1 billion served.
Right.
And I think now McDonald's says billions and billions served.
Really?
I believe so. I could be wrong.
855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. I presume that billions and billions would be at least 2, but you're right. He's right. It is an unspecified concept. 855-450-FREE, like freedom, whatever it is. There's more of them than there are of us. I don't know what that means. It's Free Talk Live.
News from news.bitcoin.com. U.S. Postal Service files a patent for new blockchain voting method. Warren Buffett changes his opinion on gold. Maybe Bitcoin is next. $6 billion Acon cryptocurrency city underway. Former Prudential CEO says now's the time to buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies. Getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com. Subscribe to Bitcoin.com's YouTube channel too. Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to divvyproject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from divvyproject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. divvyproject.org. DIVI project.org.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
Free speech is protected on the internet, right? Not always. Government agencies try to limit free speech and commerce on the net. Luckily, when they do, the Institute for Justice is there to defend your First Amendment right to free speech. IJ helped set the first federal precedent for internet free speech in 1999, and ever since has worked to prevent unconstitutional roadblocks in cyberspace. Visit our website today at ij.org.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. With you in the studio, you've got Ian.
The Reverend Captain Kickass.
We will allow you to call in about absolutely anything, even if it's so flummoxing that I lose control of my brain, which I did at the very end of the last last segment. It was such a confusing call. But we've been also talking about what happened last night. Captain, you and I and our co-host Nobody and a few other guys went out to
some other hosts and friends of hosts and that kind of thing.
One of these libertarian activists here. Sure. Some of them came over from Manchester to come to Keene. Actually, technically, it wasn't in Keene. It was a little town called Swansea, which is to the south of Keene by one town. And they had this drive-in experience of, in this case, Jim Breuer, the comedian. Because I can tell you, I wouldn't have been as interested in seeing a concert in the drive-in format. I think that's like the height of just lameification of what used to be a good time. This sort of lame shadow of what we used to do, which was get together with other humans in groups and be close and hang out and have fun together.
Right.
Now it's like, oh, you've got to have your parking spot and there's the spot next to it and you have to stay there. And if you want to leave your spot to go to the bathroom, you have to put a mask on and you're not allowed to go over and visit. Oh, you've got friends over there. You're not allowed to go visit them. I mean, technically those were the rules.
Right.
And in fact, when you went to their website, which I'll tell you what the site is. It's drive-in-live.com. Terrible URL for radio. Ugly. I felt bad for the disc jockey who had to interview Jim Breuer, and like this was his sponsor, so he had to keep mentioning it, and he kept screwing it up because it was just such a jumbled mess of letters and hyphens. You don't want to give out hyphens in a web URL on the air. So anyway, but when you go there, you can look at the rules that you purportedly are agreeing to, right? Like when you buy our ticket, this is what you agreed to.
Yeah.
And we didn't buy the ticket. It was a will call ticket, so technically we didn't agree to those rules. But regardless, most of the people purportedly did. And one of them was that you had to obey the guidance, is what the government calls their COVID guidance. The governor's orders basically saying that when you are at a drive-in, this is how you should behave as a customer. Now, to be clear, the rules are written in a confusing manner in that they're written with a lot of musts and shalls. Like as far as legal language is concerned, must and shall means something you have to do. And then should means something that you don't have to necessarily do.
Right.
But they certainly want you to believe that you do. And so a lot of people are very confused about these rules. And certainly the yellow-jacketed agent who was threatening us, threatening to kick us out of the park if we didn't put on a mask, if we want to leave our little spot, he believed that that was state law.
Right.
He cited this and claimed that this was a law. And I said, I don't think you're right about that. But I didn't want to have an argument with the guy. I'm not there to have a bad time.
Right.
I just wanted to get from where I was going to where I wanted to, arrive. In this case, we tried to go to the merch table. They wouldn't let us anywhere near it because we didn't have masks on. And so we tried to go back, and he tells us he's going to kick us out if he has to talk to us one more time.
Yeah.
So just ridiculous levels of kind of harassment going on here. They didn't have to do this. This wasn't like it was some sort of pack. I mean, like even from a so-called public health event or whatever, it's not like this was a packed event where there's a ton of people on the roads walking back and forth or anything like that. There was no one around us at any point.
We were really out in the sticks.
Yeah.
I mean, this place is just a plot of land in a rural area.
The fairgrounds.
Yeah.
I mean, this was the parking area of the fairgrounds, basically where this was all set up. So it's not like anybody was near us or anything. So it's just enforcement for enforcement's sake. Even if you do believe in all this COVID claptrap. And so he's got his job to do or whatever, even though he could have just ignored us. Yeah. And it wasn't just us or anything like that. I saw him on multiple occasions, and not just him. It wasn't like he was the only one on the security force doing this stuff.
All the yellow jackets.
Yeah.
Ironically, they sting you.
Yeah, there was a woman who told us we couldn't get close to the merchandise table, and then some other woman, it might have been the same one, I don't know, at night. We didn't get to this part, Captain. You'd had a few drinks, which, by the way, was against the rules, but that's okay, because what are they going to do about it? Nighttime had fallen.
Can't kick me out now.
Yeah, they can't see what you have in your hand at that point. I had to go to the bathroom at some point. It was a 2-hour-long show. We'd already been there 90 minutes prior to it. So at some point, it's real bad form to pee in front of the other customers at the campsite. So you probably want to walk a little ways and go to the porta potties.
Yeah, they had the porta johns.
And we both had the same, separately, we both had the same experience. We didn't go to the bathroom together, but at different times. And when we left the bathroom, so they never said anything to us on the way in.
Right.
But whenever you would leave the bathroom without a mask on, they were standing there or close by enough to where they would then give you a hard time over it.
Yeah, they give you like a warning, like, next time, wear a mask.
Yeah. And so, again, it's like I said, I didn't want to argue with these people, but I did tell the guy when he cited the law, I said, I don't think you're right about that, as I walked away. Because I don't want to continue the conflict. Yeah. Let's end this. Let's try to have a good time at this terrible venue. Not that the physical location was terrible. It was beautiful. It was a great night. The temperature was wonderful. We had a full moon. I mean, as far as the scenery was concerned, It was a cool kind of an event. It's just it wasn't the way the guy you met at the bar had sort of painted the picture.
Yeah, not even.
He made it sound as though this was going to be some kind of laid-back event where as soon as there's all these rules, but as soon as you get in there, everybody's looking the other way and it's totally fine and people are milling around and hanging out and having a party and it was a good. No, it was not a party. Yeah. It was not that atmosphere at all. There was very little mixing between people. There was very little meeting of new people or anything like that. That's not to say that it wasn't a good show. Jim Breuer did.
Jim
put on a
Breuer
good
was
show.
Outstanding. He put on a hell of a show. He did a great job. But even he, during his set, felt uncomfortable. And you could tell. He mentioned several times during the set about how this isn't usually how things work, and I can't tell if I'm doing a bad job right now versus a good job. He admitted, he's like, sometimes I'm gonna suck and sometimes I'm gonna be great, but for me it's gonna be a little more difficult to tell because you all are so
far
spread
away.
out and that kind of thing. So he would get laughs and it would take a minute for them to like get to the stage because people are so far away. He had to rely on the echo factor. To determine, how to read the crowd, if you will. So.
But he did get laughs, and it wasn't like it was a disaster as far as a performance. I thought it was pretty good. I thought he did a good job, all things considered. And they did have like a camera crew there, and they were, so they had like the giant screen TVs where you could see close-ups if you were far away.
And we should talk about the irony. Right? He's doing a bit in his show where the name of his set this time was, quote, The new normal, unquote, which was great. And he is not a fan of the masks.
Yes, that's why we went.
Based on the content of his set. And so
had he not come out against the new normal publicly, I wouldn't have really cared enough to go to see the show.
Yeah, he called the Keen Mayor a Nazi.
Yeah, he did.
That was pretty cool in his interview. But so he's on stage and he's doing his bit and he's talking about how crappy the whole mask thing is. And it's while he's doing that some of these Yellow Jackets are harassing people for not wearing the mask.
Right, literally at the same time.
Yeah, like it was almost, I don't want to call it serendipity, but it was bizarre that here is the performer of the evening railing on how crappy masks are and how that they don't do anything and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then yet the staff that's been hired to quote police the masks unquote at his own show are doing just that. So it was a bit of an oxymoron.
I hope he wasn't trying to sell any merchandise at that show because I can't imagine a single T-shirt got sold the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly didn't see any lines of people near that tent, so...
So you can comment if you've been to one of these drive-in shows. How was your experience? You're welcome to join us. Because again, these are happening in other places. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. If you want to check out Jim Brewer's show, he is going to be going to a few more, venues. Not a whole lot.
Breuer. For those of you who don't know, he spent some time on Saturday Night Live. His most famous bit was Goat Boy. He was also in the movie Half Baked.
Yeah. Funny guy. I enjoyed the show despite the fact that there were some really awful aspects to the venue, and it was not as good of a time as it could have been. It could have been really awesome.
It could have been
if they just left people alone. 855-450, free like freedom. You can join us here. This is Free Talk Live.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to generate an endless supply of natural silver solutions. Silverlungs.com. You'll find no wild claims or pseudoscience, just a lifetime of nano-sized pure silver solutions. The Silver Lungs generator allows you to make your own, so stop paying for silver solutions. The unique lung delivery system targets respiratory infections where other silver solutions simply cannot reach. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at silverlungs.com. That's silverlungs.com.
Are you ready for what's next? It's likely coming. More food shortages, power outages, grocery stores closed, social unrest. Ask yourself, do you have enough food and supplies on hand to last at least 30 days? Most Americans do not, but you can. Avoid the panic of the last-minute rush. Order your 4-week supply of emergency food today from mypatriotsupply.com. Starvation or dependency on the government are your only alternatives. Avoid those and the pain of being unprepared. Go to mypatriotsupply.com right now. Build your emergency food supply with meals that last up to 25 years in storage, shipped discreetly to your door. Folks that know what's coming are using today to prepare. There's time for you to do the same. That's mypatriotsupply.com, the original Patriot Preparedness Company. mypatriotsupply.com.
With a MECTEC carbine conversion unit, you can turn an XD family Glock or 1911 handgun into a carbine rifle in seconds and have it shipped right to your door, no FFL required. Now, MECTEC is excited to announce our pistol carbine conversion unit, more compact with a 12-inch barrel and an arm brace, proving once again that MECTEC is the world's most versatile handgun accessory. For a limited time, go to handgunconversions.com. That's handgunconversions.com and use coupon code RADIO to receive $35 off any carbine purchase.
LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. As our contract with our satellite provider is coming up for another 3-year renewal, I have to consider calling it quits. It's rare that we get feedback or support from our satellite users. We started a fundraiser a few years ago, and though there are a bunch of great contributors to it, as of this recording, it covers 15% of our monthly satellite costs. Please email lrn@lrn.fm and tell me how you use the satellite feed. Better yet, chip in at fund.lrn.fm. The costs aren't the issue. We can afford them, but why continue something not valued by the market? Want to help? You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. Fund.lrn.fm. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. Moments remain here. Enough time maybe for your call if you want to join us. 855-450-FREE. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
Me, Captain.
From mid-March to mid-July of this year, Divvy, the newer, easy-to-use cryptocurrency we've been promoting here on Free Talk Live, increased in value by over 10 times, which is an amazing thing. Obviously, the Divvy programmers would like to continue that sort of level of success. Certainly, we cannot predict the future, but so far, Free Talk Live has been pretty happy with our decision to hook up with Divi a year ago. You can go to diviproject.org and begin earning Divi by starting a masternode or staking Divi. Diviproject.org. They even have a lottery for people who stake Divi as well. DIVI project.
I can predict the future accurately. I predict that we will take a phone call.
I predict we might take more than one. Diviproject.org. Let's start with Charlie in Alamogordo, New Mexico. Charlie, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hello, Ian. Hello, Captain. Sorry about that little misgiver last week.
Oh, I'm not even sure what you're referring to.
Oh, I think he said something.
Yeah, we're
he
talking
slipped.
about the rise and decline of the United States, where it started and where it's going.
Okay. All right. So what's on your mind this week?
Well, it's the same thing. I didn't get to finish really the answer, and talking about the rise and decline. I said 9/11, and then that people telling on each other. The government has people telling on each other now. Their neighbors if they don't have a mask on, and this and that, and peeking over the fences. And, it's pretty bad. I don't know where it's going to go from here.
Well, it's not going anywhere good. I mean, if people are being trained to be snitches and being encouraged to be snitches on each other, that's going to drive a wedge between neighbors. It's going to drive a wedge between coworkers. It's going to push people even further apart, even more distanced from one another because everybody's afraid of each other.
I got a theory.
Yeah.
Now listen, I don't know if you guys remember, but when Pelosi ripped up that the schedule for Mr. Trump during the inauguration, remember that?
Nah, I
vaguely.
Well, she had said specifically before all this stuff happened was that the cities will burn as long as Trump is in office. She said, don't quote me on that, but it's pretty close to that.
Huh.
And then coincidentally, all of a sudden, we got a virus going. Cities are burning. And then I heard also from you guys, I don't know which one it was, but they were talking about how doctors were coming up missing, and when they were found dead.
I do remember something about that. Yeah, there was a string of doctors who went
in the U.S.
missing around the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my thing was the theory continues from Pelosi's one of them. Cities are burning. Doctors coming up dead. All of a sudden, a virus gets loose. It's not really that bad. It's just a cold virus. But anyways, nonetheless, I put things together after a while, and I'm like, okay, 4 horsemen. And not necessarily men, according to biblical scripture. They cannot, it's just it's a metaphorically speaking thing of happening. Now, the 4 horsemen I get are actually women, and I put them together as Miss Obama, Pelosi, Miss Clinton, and the vice president to be, maybe, hopefully not.
I don't mean to correct you, but if that's accurate, then they would be the 4 whores, man. You put a little comma in there, the 4 whores, comma, man.
Pretty good.
But anyway, it's just a theory. Yeah, it's a theory, and I hate it. I don't like it, and I think we're the ones that let it loose and blame China on it. I really do.
Now, are you saying that this is like some sort of biblical apocalypse?
I believe it's part of maybe not biblical, maybe someone who has insight of what's to come, or maybe whatever, a bad dream, whatever. Okay, but
can we wake up? Is this a bad dream, Captain?
If it is, I wish somebody'd pinch me.
Yeah.
I wish it was, because the masks aren't in my dreams, but
yeah, isn't it sad when like dreams are more free kind of escape than the reality that we're experiencing? That's how it was in prison when I wasn't in prison. I was in jail for civil disobedience. But when I was in jail, the dreams are the best part. And a free life is a free.
If you're too stressed out and too worried about things in real life, how can you even go to sleep?
Good question, Charlie. Thanks for the call tonight, man. I definitely appreciate hearing from you. Toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. A life is supposed to be a time where you can create things, right? Like you can experience and create, and in order to have, I think, fun, you have to take risks. In order to have an experience that is valuable, you have to be able to put something on the line. And safety is way overrated. There was some guy who was like really over happy to be in a mask, and I was sitting out in a parking lot recently at Taco Biondo here in New Hampshire waiting on some of my food to be brought out because it's takeout only, so I had to sit out in my car. I mean, I don't have to sit in the car, but I hang around out in the parking lot. And as I'm sitting there on my laptop, I hear this guy talking to people as he's sort of coming around the parking lot, and he's just super excited and talking to people about what's going on with his life. And he explains that, I'm at the school, and so it sounds like he's a bureaucrat at the local government school. And we've been doing lots of cleaning, and the kids are coming back, and he's just explaining all this to the whoever it is that's there in the parking lot listening to him, and he's masked up, and he's very excited about it. And then when he stops talking and they break, they part their ways, he says, "Be safe or stay safe and stay happy." And then he goes like, as he walks away, and it was just so.
He is on some good drugs, man.
It was the drug of obedience. It was the drug of safety. And this whole mentality, it's just really detrimental. When you go somewhere and you drive in a car, you're taking a risk. I know that people think that it's like just routine and it's what we do, but you're taking a risk going and getting in a car and getting behind the wheel, a significant one. And why do you do that? Because it gets you somewhere. Because there's something that you can acquire or something that you can accomplish by going to the place that you want to go. Right. So you're willing to take the risk rather than staying home and staying still out of fear of what it is that might happen to you. And the same thing's true with the concert that, we went to, or not concert, but the comedy show that we went to. Had it been that we could have just gone to this place and taken whatever risk we wanted to, then I think we would have had a much better time, because other people would also be taking risks as well. And that could include drug use. That could include, again, the trip there, or just simply walking around and interacting with other people. Yeah. But there are these the security agents there wanted nothing to do with allowing people to make choices for themselves.
Yeah, and the one thing that the state has done is taken away the market's ability to innovate in this particular instance, right?
The state has said this is what you must do.
Right. Instead of, hey, if your customers are worried about this, it's up to you to address that as a business, right? So if you want to put on a show and there's a market for people to come, then you should be allowed to go ahead and do that.
Here's an idea.
If you want to put on a show where everything is social distanced, or you're otherwise in a bubble or something.
Here's an idea. What about a mixed show? What about where you have the car zone for the people who want to stay? Like the people next to us just stayed in their car the whole time. The woman showed up with a mask on in her car. They had to roll their windows down because they forgot the FM transmitter. There's the only reason I think they rolled their windows down so they could hear the show. What about putting all the safety people in the little safety zone?
Yeah, the masked section and the unmasked section.
And the rest of us can have the risk zone or the choice zone, a zone in which it's like old times, where you can just make a choice for yourself and be there if that's where you want to be.
The free section,
right?
Or
and
freedom
the people in the safety section could have their own little porta potties, so they don't have to encounter us when we go to our porta potties.
Yeah. If there's a market demand for it, it would have arose.
And I think that there would have been.
You get what I'm saying.
It would have arisen.
Did arise?
Let's go to Jerry. He's in West Virginia. I had a problem with his phone earlier. Jerry, are you with us?
Hi, guys. Can I give you some friendly advice?
Please.
If you're going to ask people to call in, don't keep them on hold for 51 minutes and through 3 breaks. You guys aren't Rush Limbaugh, man. If you want people to call in, let them. You two have been entertaining each other for the last 54
Well, thank you to my program director, Jerry. I'm so glad I brought you back after your call wasn't there when we took it earlier. I'm so glad that I brought it back so you could complain to us. Let's go to David in New Mexico. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, I need to expose a guy named Darren White is well known to everybody in the state of New Mexico, and where it concerns everybody else is he's a perfect example of statism. And let me give you a quote that he said on his radio program the other day.
Okay.
And that is that he is a quote. He, quote, believes keeping people safe is the fundamental role of government. And so then so from that statement, and let me interject. This guy is an 8-year sheriff. First of all, he comes from New York. Thank you, New York, for sending all of your stuff west and south and everywhere else you send it. But he's from New York. And he went out and he became an Army Ranger or whatever he was, and so that made him cool. And then he went to Houston and became a cop, and so that made him even cooler and tougher. And then he came to Albuquerque, continued to be a cop for a number of years, so he continued to be cool and tough. Oh, and by the way, he put all kinds of people in jail for selling marijuana and using marijuana. Now he has a marijuana distributorship.
Of course he does. David, I appreciate your call. Even though he didn't have a whole lot of time left, he made a point. Thanks for that.
Well done.
We'll see you tomorrow night. Online in the meantime, freetalklive.com.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had got involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
I'm crazy about My Magic Mud. This is the most important oral care product created this millennium, and I'm not kidding. We all have different opinions on politics and issues, but we all have mouths. And I want yours to be as clean as possible, with teeth as bright as they were meant to be. I will never be without My Magic Mud. It's a little surprising, but man, does it work. If you only listen to one thing I say ever, go to mymagicmud.com and get 20% off with code FTL. mymagicmud.com, code FTL.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night.